I wouldn't worry. There's hardly anybody here. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to One World, One Blood Bowl number 66. With very little happening in the world of Blood Bowl, I thought I'd get three guests that have been on before, three lovely people from Blood Bowl, all of whose company I hugely enjoy, and maybe just chat about, this and that, see what we think about, obviously, the huge new rules drop that has been announced. We know almost nothing. We do have a few little tidbits that we picked up here and there that maybe weren't in the original announcement. So we're hoping to clarify a couple of things and also to speculate wildly and uninformedly about things that we are definitely certain might be happening if we really, I mean, we don't know at all. But we're going to talk about it anyway because everyone is, and that means that we should be too. And if you're out there listening to this, I hope we at least provide some food for thought. I am very, very pleased that three lovely people are with us here this evening. First, let me start by welcoming my friend and yours, if you have any interest in Blood Bowl, the governor himself, the man to whom I owe everything, the lovely Krista. Good evening, Krista. Welcome back on One World, One Blood Bowl, which you always are. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, thank you. It's interesting times.
Interesting times. It's a Chinese curse, isn't it? May you live in interesting times.
Hmm.
But I'm taking it from the smile on your face. You're mostly happy with where we are.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, this new edition is super exciting. Lots of new stuff happening, lots of
Good.
new work, but
Let's not talk about that
very
again
good.
then. That's that covered. Excellent.
Exactly.
How's your Blood Bowl at the moment? Are you hobbying? Are you painting? Are you playing?
No, none of the above. I'm fighting bots and scripts. That's what I've been doing for the last few weeks, preparing to improve, buying a new server
Yeah.
to be able to cope.
So there is a donation drive going on Fumble at the moment to help with
Yes,
that server. Of course, Fumble is still completely free at point of entry and doesn't have adverts, doesn't have any of that sort of stuff. So really, you survive on your largesse towards the Blood Bowl community and what the Blood Bowl community decides to donate. Is that true?
correct.
Yeah, so if we want a new server, if we want a functioning Fumble, it is up to us. There's no cost for using it, but certainly if you can spare the money, if you think Fumble is a valuable resource or if it's something you use, I would absolutely advocate and endorse give what you can. At the moment, for me, that's very little, but I have put my hand in my pocket to at least have that little gold badge that says I'm taking part, I'm part of trying to make things better. And if my luck changes, then some of that will go in Krista's direction. I'm not. I'm definitely not telling you what to do. You know your own finances. But if you consider Fumble a valuable resource, it's been there for 24 years now. 2003, wasn't it? So 22 years now,
Yes, yes.
and it's still going strong. Still attracting the best players of Blood Bowl, where they can play all the races with a pretty exact rule set, and it's continuously improving. I was watching someone the other day looking at some replays and managing to draw all over it with some lovely coloured lines that they can then take away with a single click. They can put back. They can do all sorts of fun, really useful stuff in terms of a learning tool and a teaching tool. I still think, much as I think Blood Bowl 3 has improved, I don't think it's terrible anymore. I wouldn't say that to anyone. In fact, I'd go so far as to at times say there's aspects of it I think are quite good. I do think Fumble is very different, but I also think it's incredible and just the best resource for Blood Bowl we have around. And it's one of my resolutions at this time of year that there's a new season of the Black Box Trophy starting, and I plan to complete a run. Now, I did say that last season, but my life went completely down the toilet, and my health did too. And other things had to be prioritised. But yeah, I'm really, really hoping I get one done this time. So if you love Fumble and if you love Crystal like I do, let's help out. Let's make sure that he isn't paying for this server because he shouldn't have to. So we will talk to you about all of the things implied for someone on your level with this rule set. I think that's a really interesting viewpoint to have. So thank you for coming along. To my side, we have, of course, if you don't recognise him, that's the lovely JLeav. And having in my advert for this One World, One Blood Bowl alienated at least half of America and arguably both halves of America. I am pleased to say we have one of the smartest minds in Blood Bowl, who also happens to be American, one of the people topping the charts and all the rankings in Blood Bowl, who is an American, and not, as I often say, just an American. He's not Canadian, he's not Mexican, he's from the US of A, which we all call American, but is of course an American from America. JLeav, how are you and how's your Blood Bowl, my friend?
Hello, PurpleChest. My Blood Bowl is going all right. Online's been a little shaky, but that's just variance, I think. And then this year, I've so far done 58 NAF games, And the goal was to pass 100, which I'm a little behind on, but I'm making up for that by starting 11 weekends in a row with a tournament, which is
Wow.
a little absurd.
Yeah,
And I will be passing 100 with it, but I won't be the first person outside of Europe to do it if Run Bad continues at the pace he's going.
of course. I'm at 2 weekends with another one coming before I get a break, and 3 in a row's feeling like quite a lot to me. You're literally on the cusp of this 11, are you?
Yes, it's starting last weekend of September, and then it's just every weekend of October, every weekend of November, and the first weekend of December as well.
And of course,
I'm a
with
little insane. I
yeah,
get that.
with America being a very small country with great public transport, I presume they're all very
Hmm.
easy to get to and quite
Yeah, I
nearby.
mean, I only go to a seventh of the tournaments in America.
Well, good luck on your travels. I hope it goes well. I hope you remain sane at the end of it. We have an equivalent here. We have Andy Davo, who, if you go to a tournament in England or indeed the UK at any point this year, I think there's about a 1 in 3 that Andy Davo is going to be there. He has his heart set on taking Torquemada's record off him, set only last year, beating the record set the year before. So with the explosion in the amount of Blood Bowl, we have some people doing some crazy amounts of Blood Bowl. So perhaps the two of you should compare notes on just how you keep going. I saw him at the one I was at yesterday, and he did say, "There's tournaments. I turn up and I just need to get them played. It's not necessarily even fun. It's something I'm doing. Much like cooking or having a shower. Although I do love a good shower. Now it's fair to say your Blood Bowl's gone quite well this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I've been maintaining an 82% win rate, which you're all going to just say, oh, you're in America, blah, 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 whatever.
Well, you've said it
I don't
for
really
us.
care
So
about that.
is it just
Yes,
because
I've
you're
said
playing
it for
Americans? Yeah.
you. I don't think
I
it's
was
I don't
definitely
think
gonna
it's
say
just
it.
because I'm playing Americans. I'd hope that.
Now, for those of you that haven't understood, if you're watching this, you will notice we have a lovely little skyline in the fourth corner of the One World, One Blood Bowl picture this evening. That skyline does have a voice. Oh, does it ever? It's the beautiful voice of my lovely friend Caolan. Good evening, Caolan.
Good evening, Purple Chest. How are you? Good
I'm
evening, chat.
I'm pretty good actually, thank you. Health-wise, I'm in a really good place, having not been for the last sort of couple of years. I'm actually feeling good, so thank you for asking. Now, I'm delighted to say we don't have to look at your face, but we do have to listen to your voice. Oh
Yep.
no, I shouldn't. Okay, but I mean, I do feel that. For all those lovely people out there, let's explain who you are. You are the Grand Poobah, the legend of the Irish scene. How's your blood?
That's me. Yep.
How's your Blood Bowl been lately, and how are things over there in the Fair and Emerald Isle?
We're having an absolute blast at the moment. There's a bunch of really cool stuff going on. We've got a bunch of new people. We're involved in the Euro Bowl selection process this year. We have a new captain.
Have they given you a seat?
In Uh, no, so for various reasons, I was unwilling to go to Hungary, which we've discussed. We'll move on quickly.
Let's.
Um, yeah, but there was a fantastic opportunity for a bunch of people who hadn't been involved in the Euro Bowl previous years, or let's say at a level of competitiveness that they would have experienced. So I'm absolutely delighted to see that there were a bunch of new names went in. A bunch of new names got picked, and they're all off to Hungary very, very soon. I'm very proud of the lads. I think they're all great. If you meet them over in Hungary, no sounder bunch of lads. It's great to have such a lovely community over here that I have no fear of any of them being sent over. I know they're going to play in some nice Blood Bowl, and they're going to represent us very, very well. So I'm very chuffed for those guys.
Are they going to be drunk by 10:30 in the morning?
Look, we have some stereotypes.
It's a fair
Uh,
question. I've
it is.
met the Irish team several times on tour.
Well, you met us for coffee the last time,
I
David.
did, and I was
You're still in
amazed.
shock over.
Yeah, I am. I'm not over it.
No, I mean, well, there's going to be a few pints had. Like, I mean, it's a weekend away for the lads. Like,
Yeah.
they're going to have a great time. But are they going to also manage to play some Blood Bowl? Yes, they are. But I mean, there's a Crowley never said no.
And
If there's
is
a
it?
pint being offered,
So
it'll be well reciprocated.
of course. I mean, yeah, you'll always get a warm welcome of just about any Irishman I've met playing Blood Bowl. I
Yeah.
think they're a lovely crowd. I enjoy spending time with them, and I flatter myself they enjoy spending time with me. I wear my Team Island shirt with pride at many an event.
Good
Um,
man.
and always will do so. I don't have to have represented Ireland to feel an affinity for that lovely isle. And indeed, the vibrant scene that has been created in the last few years in Ireland, that continues to gather pace, I hear.
It does. It's absolutely magnificent to see. There's a bunch of work been put in this year as well by a couple of other lads in the community to make sure that we're hitting a lot more of the counties around the place. Lovely burgeoning scene. I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with my good friend Danton, who is based over in Waterford. Danton has been running a fantastic event over the last, I think he's on to his third year now, for Daisha Bowl. Daisha being the name of the lads that live in Waterford in our parlance.
Right.
So that's called Daisha Bowl. But there's another lovely fella there called Olivier who has set up. He's been involved in the local community. Found some 40kers, got them playing local tabletop league.
So he's saved
Had a bunch of us up for a small tournament with a lovely one day. And the lads are all after getting involved in the online scene, and they've been coming to more events since, and it's absolutely lovely to see it. And not just in Waterford, but in Limerick as well. We have a great event coming up over in our good friend Broadsword Wargaming.
Yes.
Is going to be running an event over in Mayo, Castlebar, County Mayo. If anybody's in England, you can get flights from East Midlands direct to Knock for very cheap. And Knock is only 5 minutes down the road. So
Come on, you've made that name up. That's out of a story.
No, it's called Knock. Yeah, there's an airport in Knock. Knock. There was a divine apparition that happened up the road, and that's what brought it to the map. And then we wanted to make sure that other people could come over on pilgrimages, so we put an airport there. There's literally nothing. It's the middle of the west of Ireland, so you've got a lot of beautiful landscape, some very old castles, excellent place to go for walks, and a gaming store and some sheep, and that's about it.
I was
But
going
we've
to
a
ask.
lovely airport just down the road.
I don't want to come over as an ignorant Englishman. I have been to both Dublin and Belfast, two lovely cities. If I was to travel further afield for a tournament, I mean, I am used to, my modern conveniences, running water and electric light. That is pretty much everywhere in Ireland now, right?
Indeed, yeah, we have,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're in some of the smaller towns, you want to just make sure that nobody's borrowed the horse or something.
Sure.
But sorry, I should say donkey. Jesus, it's the Celtic Tiger's long gone. We don't have a horse anymore. The donkey might have to be brought back in to power the turbine. But yeah, as long as you can have a loan of Jenny for the evening, everything should be fine. We do indeed have all of the modern conveniences.
Yes.
Very funny for an Englishman to be making joke about how developed Ireland is, to be quite honest with you. Hello.
I hope people realise it is done with self-knowledge and with at least one small level of irony.
And indeed, we know each other very well. For anybody who's watching who isn't aware, we know each other very well, and our banter is very highbrow.
There's a lot of love between us, and he's forgiven me for what my ancestors did, mostly. Mostly. I would say at this point, we do perhaps need to move on and actually talk about the new rules drop, because I'm not sure not people are really here for our banter. I mean, who knows? Who knows why anyone listens? And I have always said, if you do want any kind of refund, a full refund is always available for One World, One Blood Bowl. No questions asked.
Complaints, obviously,
simply for the asking. Yeah.
The complaints, obviously, the complaints department. If you have anything you'd like to write to us, it's at Twitch /TV, switch.tv/Dimmy_G.
Yep.
And that's where you send all of your things.
He is definitely collecting a file, which he mentions never really, and certainly not every time I'm with him. Now, one of the interesting things about gathering you three is, if I was to characterize you, I could do so obviously rudely and unfairly, but if I was being positive, I would say you're three people very invested in where Blood Bowl is. Since 2020, the Irish scene has sort of begun to exist and absolutely thrived. JLeav, you seem to have mastered this rule set. You're right up at the top of every ranking I'd care to look at. You seem to be dominating, and an 82% win rate, even against Americans, is notably high. So that's incredible. You clearly have a very fine Blood Bowl mind, which I'm proud to say I spotted first before anybody else in Blood Bowl. Hence invited you over to be a barbarian at a time where we dominated a strong international field with the ragtag bunch that I collected. And of course, Krista, you are all over this rule set. You've had it active and working on Fumble for a long time. We're all very happy, I think, with where Blood Bowl is pretty much right now. And if anyone has stuff to lose through a change in the rule sets, it's the man who is dominating the rankings, the man who's seen as exploded with these rule sets, and the man with the website that everybody loves to play on if they really want to practice their tabletop or play the full set of rules and races. So, in a word, are we happy that this rules drop has come? Do we have a negative Nigel, a Debbie Downer, a doubtful Dave amongst us? Krista, I've already asked a little bit, but in a word or a sentence, are you happy that new rules are on their way?
Absolutely. I think new rules, even if they're sort of not becoming better, is a good thing. I think that, I mean, we lived through a long time without rules changes, and that's no good.
Yeah. We did, and I said towards the end of 2016, the CRP era, when we were getting the new rules, that I think CRP was great. I really liked that rule set, but it was ossified. Everyone knew exactly what was on. I remember very clearly that we had a dramatic year where suddenly wood elves were thinking about maybe a frenzy instead of a tackle piece on one of the dancers, and everyone for a year had a go at it, and then everyone swapped back, and that was huge drama in the rule set. I'm glad we live in a time where that isn't sort of the drama, where we can talk about slightly more interesting changes and see what we think that might do to the meta or to the races. I think growth and change is great, and it tends to attract people. But JLeav, you've got a lot to lose. You're one of the people up the top of this big pile of Blood Bowl players. Surely you can't want change, can you?
I love the fact that there's change. Change typically favors those who pick up on it faster. And I think I fall into that category. But that's not the main reason I like change.
I was
I
going to
like
say, so
change
fantastically,
because...
it's an entirely selfish view of I can get even more powerful. Ha ha!
No, I think there's a lot of things that do need changing in the rules, and I'm just not too sure if they're hitting all of them yet with this, but there seems to be some good ones in there.
But
The little teaser we got.
one step in the right direction is better than a mile in the wrong direction. Unless the wrong direction is only just slightly to the side of where you're trying to go, in which case it isn't, and that entire expression falls apart. Caolan, what about you, sir? Like I said, a thriving scene and exciting peoples. Are you worried it's going to piss them off?
Not at all. I think, to be honest with you, especially from the tabletop side of it, we're going to have a huge amount of interest in the next couple of weeks and months from people who play other of the game systems that Games Workshop provide us, who are going to see this, see a box set, especially with a lot of the love for the old world that has been happening over the last year that they've been generating. The fact that it's Bretonnians and, Tomb Kings, Khemri, is definitely going to appeal to a lot of people, even just to buy the toys. So the option of us being able to have new people sit down and try a game and see if we can ruin their life, that's a really great thing. But I think it's absolutely great. I think there's going to be a really nice positive curve on the uptake of people getting interested in Blood Bowl, and I'm 100% there for that.
Yes, one of the most famous commentators on Blood Bowl, I believe, coined the phrase about a year ago that we're living through a Blood Bowl golden age. That was me,
Genius.
actually, wasn't
Genius
it?
comment. Yeah, genius.
It was. I'm rightly proud of it.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why was, despite there being, still some problems in this rule set, it's the explosion of people playing it, which I still hold to be, probably the most important factor. Do we have people coming in, particularly young people? Do we have new people coming in? Do we have people swapping in from other rule sets, let alone people returning? Is it getting people excited to play our game? And every club I talk to, every tournament organizer I talk to says that numbers are just growing and growing and growing. Some of the major leagues have doubled in size over the last sort of 2 or 3 years. Some people have had to start new, particularly beginner leagues to get people seated in who don't have to face the likes of Gegster or me on a regular basis. Not that I play in a league, but you know what I mean. They don't want to play necessarily someone with 20 years of experience playing Blood Bowl as they start, but they want to find their feet. They want to get going. They want to play this game of ours. So personally, I think a new rule set can only be fantastic for Blood Bowl, but it also has to be the right rule set. If it alienates the current player base but brings a new player base in, I don't want that, because I still want to enjoy Blood Bowl. Now, I don't know a more logical way to do it than to sort of go through the post that came out and see what we think of each bit, And then obviously you three know you can talk about anything you want on any aspect, and I'll try and bring you all in and see what we think. But we'll start having a little look through and just see what we think of the news drop. It started with we had a lovely video and some music showing us some painted figures. That's always fun. Um, and then we got the main body of it. Now this is available, of course, on WarhammerCommunity.com. If you go to the Blood Bowl section there, lots and lots of links will take you to the page, and I will have a link both in the YouTube comments and the Spotify or whatever other podcast comments. If you can find that through your podcast, you'll find it there. If not, just navigate your way there. That's right, Spore fans. The game of fantasy football is back with a new season. So this is officially the third season box. It's actually something like the 7th official edition of Blood Bowl, but they abandoned all of that when they restarted and they decided they would start the naming again. This one claims, and I thought this was the first interesting thing, it brings 2 new teams, we'll talk about those obviously, smart rules updates and roster changes that will shake up team selection across the board. Now, of all the things people have been talking about, I think that's the bit that maybe got slightly overlooked. Everyone's excited about the 2 new teams. We're getting Tomb King's Khemri are returning. We're getting a new Bretonnian team, which seems to be entirely new, not related to the old Bretonnian team. So Imperial Nobility will still have their little niche of being a little like the old Bretonnians, but slightly different. But everything's going to shake up. We're going to get new rosters that shake the meta. Anyone got anything on that? What do you think about that particular little morsel that we had?
Terrific, delighted. Yep, all of that is fantastic news. Shaking up metas, fantastic, really, really great. Funny for you to say, and I will call you up on this.
Okay.
The fact that it was released with a lovely video with some nice music and some toys and stuff. I mean, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the same reason you didn't get the gnomes, right? People like the toys. I was fucking hyped when I saw the toys. The Tomb Guardians are maybe too small, but I think the toys are absolutely gorgeous. They're fantastic. They all look really, really well. They're really nicely painted in that absolutely brilliant GW stupid style that is with all of the edge highlighting that nobody wants to do. But it's gorgeous. They're gorgeous toys. New board, little markers, loads of extra stuff that's on it. Fantastic. As a hobbyist, I was like, well, I'm buying a new box. I definitely don't need a box of these. I don't. Am I buying it? 100%.
Okay, we will get on to the 2 teams because I think they are really, really interesting, and I think there's a lot to talk about there. But just about the roster changes, about the changes to rosters that we are currently running. They're going to take 2 of my Dark Elf Blitzers away, I think, aren't they? What do you think, Krista?
Probably.
I mean, we did hear a rumour that said it's going to be in the box is your team on the table. Do you think that's going to come true?
No,
That's
they're a
I
minis
don't know.
company. They can sell you 1 box and then another box for the same cost.
It's
Right.
To get
gonna
your
be.
full team.
I think it might depend. Some teams will probably be the full team in the box or the balls you need, but then you have boxes like modern example Chaos Dwarves
Right.
where you don't get the Bull Centaurs. I mean,
Oh, I was leaving big guys out because they make a lot of money just selling us big guys. So I was thinking it was everything except the big guys. Like, I'm not sure you're going to get trees in there. I'm not sure you're going to get centaurs minotaurs in there. But the bull centaurs should be in the box, shouldn't they?
absolutely.
One would have thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is talk of Games Workshop moving to a new factory and able to perhaps have the tools to make slightly bigger boxes. So do we think we might get a re-release of Orcs where every Orc you need is in the box, and a re-release of Chaos Dwarves that are pretty much the same, but they do throw a couple of Bull Centaurs in? Or do you think they'll, as JLeav is somewhat cynically, I don't know where he gets that idea that anyone can be cynical on my show, thinks that they might just think, hang on, there's more money in making 5 boxes that they have to buy.
Yeah. Oh, the Joy in chat is saying that it will come with a price increase. I think they already hinted that there will be a price increase across the board of all their miniatures. So prices are going up. Oh, sorry, they say the price change.
Yes. So it's probably going to go down and make it a more affordable hobby, isn't it?
Absolutely.
No, my money is. I mean, I've said this before. I may be an outlier. I think Games Workshop boxes are incredibly reasonable at the moment, particularly if you compare to third-party teams. And people go, "Oh yeah, but you need 2 Games Workshop boxes." Okay, so buy 2 Games Workshop boxes, and then work out how getting a full team is from a third-party manufacturer if it isn't resin printed, if it's actually made.
For Blood Bowl, not Games Workshop in general.
Okay, but I think Blood
There are
Bowl
other
teams
games that are
haven't been
very
that
expensive.
bad. So if you say a box is 30 at the moment, or perhaps 35, depending on your local game store, I don't think of 45 as a shocking price. Particularly if the whole team's in the box minus say the big guy, I think I could live with that and not call it a money grab. Or am I wrong?
There's a couple of them that definitely fall into that. I think the Undead and the Necromantic, for example, and certainly if you were to buy both of those, you would have enough ghouls to run both of them and enough zombies to run, etc., etc. So there's clever ways of buying things, but I mean the fact that the Bull Centaurs are what, and they're £18 or something each as well is I
Yeah.
mean that's a Games Workshop that I know and love, and that I've I could have had a mortgage, but I've been playing their games since I was 12, so I do not. So yeah, that's more along the lines of what I'm expecting. I do think JLeav is onto something though. The fact that they are a miniature company means that it's very unlikely that they're going to reduce stuff. I do think it's possible that they will have a new re-release of some of the toys, because especially things like the humans and the orcs are a little bit old-fashioned now. It wouldn't surprise me if they come out, but then it's quite possible for them to put 3 sprues in the box, somehow have stuff fixed across that, and the release be based on whatever that is. So it wouldn't surprise me if they changed up rosters in the future. Dark Elves, for example, I don't mind not only having 2 blitzers. They could just increase the stats on. I mean, make the runner AG passing 2. Give the assassin sidestep. I mean, these are easy things for you to make the other positionals a little bit better, and allow for them to keep with the more recent box releases, which have had 2 of the different positionals.
Yeah.
In the regular one.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing
I
is,
do wonder if maybe all positionals are going to drop to two only, but you couldn't do that to Chaos or Nurgle, could you? You couldn't have 2 bloaters and expect that to be. I mean, it's not functional now, but
sure, but you'd have 2 bloaters, you'd have 2 things, and you'd have 2 other things as well, right? I mean, like, it's not going to be. Hopefully, they're not all going to be stupid stabbers, right? We're going to have other things. We could end up with things like the Amazon Blitzers or the Amazon Blockers, for example, who are an example of taking 2 of something that is exceptional rather than and losing something else in the interim as well. So there are options available for some of the other teams. Even if you were to buy some of the good boxes as well, like the Zons and the Corn or the Norse, you actually need 2 boxes because you need the lineman.
yeah.
So that's another part of it. So they might, and that's another reason why I think they could just go to 3 sprues, because it would give you the full 16 guys. Or do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But we'll get it. Like they'll put
But then
one extra sprue.
I'd say the
and they'll
sprues
charge
had to
you
not be
4.
identical then. Through identical sprues, it's going to give you strange numbers of things, isn't it?
Not necessarily, because of the way they pack them, because it's the way they. So the inside baseball bit there is that they have 2 sprues that are identical and 1 that isn't, and then that one gets half of that goes into another box, and so then you get 1 different pose on the 3rd sprue, but that could contain 2 blitzers, for example.
Yeah.
And,
Okay,
and
well,
then
that makes
you
some
get
sense.
2 of
I
one,
still
2 of
think we're
another.
really undervaluing the phrase, and of course we don't know if the person writing this news release, how in the know they are of what is actually changing. But I still think the phrase will shake up team selections across the board is just a little more chilling to me than perhaps some people have been giving it the airtime of. I mean, are dwarves suddenly going to have a new positional? Are we going to lose 2 Chaos Warriors? As I said, are all the elves going to change so that, we don't get 4 catchers on anyone anymore, for example? I don't know, but I definitely think there might be bigger changes coming than some people have got their eyes on, thinking that it's going to be tweaks and perhaps a few new teams, but pretty much things are staying the same. I wonder if actually there'll be bigger changes than we realise at this point. But we do need to move on, because obviously the meat of this is discussing the lovely new teams and some of the lovely new dynamics that we're apparently going to get. So first of all, they did say it will shake up the meta and keep even the hoariest of veterans on their toes. So I guess they do literally mean me. And it all comes in a lovely new box, of course, with everything you need to be played, including all the stuff we don't really want, like a new pitch and a new plastic ruler that no one uses to measure passes, and a new throw-in template that no one uses to decide how their throw-ins are going. But there's going to be other stuff too. Now, the first thing to mention, of course, is the new teams. Let's cover those, and then we'll deal with some of the new dynamics. I am just going to briefly flash up, so we will all disappear for a minute. Do bear with me. We're going to flash up and have a quick look at some of those teams. So, or are we? No, it's completely disappeared. That's great. I think I know why. Let me solve that problem. So the first one that is on the news post, and hence it's the one we will talk about first, is the Bretonians. So, we've all disappeared. Why have we done that? We're back, but the Windows that I wanted to show you is not. That's excellent. Let me see what I can do about that. No, I can't seem to bring it up. Oh well, never mind.
Well,
So
hey,
head on to the site yourself, and you will see that we have some lovely new figures from Bretonia to talk about. We're seeming to get 3 positionals and a line person. The line person is going to be called a squire, so there's no peasants in this Bretonian roster. And then we get 3 different types of knight. We have specifically the Grail Knight. We have 2 knight throwers, 2 knight catchers, and obviously they capable players who come with pass and catch respectively, and both of them will have nerves of steel. There's no big guy on the roster, but there is Dauntless. So we don't know whether that's on just the Grail Knights or whether it's on all 4 Knights. Clearly the Grail Knights are designed as sort of blitzing pieces. The Squires will come with Wrestle. We have no idea about their armor value or anything else, but I guess we're assuming sort of a human stat line of 633 something. Anyone want to have a guess what the armor might be?
I have a guess that the Squires are going to be move 5.
Oh, okay. Any particular
They're
reason?
going to be. I feel like you could have a lot of fun if. Which team is this? Bretonians. Sorry, I've merged the 2 terms in my mind and I
Yep.
can't separate them yet. If Bretonians are a fast and slow team where they have fast knights and they have really, really slow linemen to make up for the linemen actually being decent.
I mean, I remember back to the very first edition because I'm very, very old. And there, the Bretonian team was perhaps a little more like this. It had knights and then it had peasants. And the knights were actually move 5 and the peasants move 6 to reflect the knights' heavy armor. And I wonder if we might get something like that, which I think would surprise people. If your big, strong armored positionals are actually pretty slow and just the slightly useless line people aren't. That might be an interesting dynamic. What about the Dauntless? Do we think it's going to be all across, Krista, or do you think it's just these Grail Knights?
I don't know. I never liked Dauntless anyway, so for me, I don't care. I think it's a terrible skill. I know I'm not the best player in the world, but I don't like rolling extra dice for no reason.
Yes, but I mean it's not for no reason. It's so that your strength can suddenly go up 2 or 3 notches, and you can just knock over a Tomb King if you feel like it.
So that you act as strength 6 instead of strength 5 when you're blocking a strength 4 player. Very important.
Yes.
poor Chris here hanging out with 3 vampire coaches going, I don't really like rolling dice.
I mean, certainly looking at the images, the knights look more heavily armored than the squires. Is that a fair take, or I mean, the squires do have armor though, don't they? So, are we thinking maybe a 9 plus on the? I mean, the knights have to be 10 plus, don't they?
No, they're not. I think the whole team is going to be 9.
You think they're all going to be 9?
Yeah. I think the whole team is going to be 9. Yeah, I think they're going to be great. I think you're probably never going to take, if you're a JLeav, JLeav is going to go. Well, I've never taken the throwers. I'm taking 2 of the catchers. I'm taking 2 of the Grail Knights, and I'm taking as many linemen as I can fit. And if it means giving up some catchers, I might take Ivar or somebody like that.
Well, you're only going to get 2 of each, so that means
Yep.
4 positionals and linemen. And surely the
Yes.
thrower is going to be a leader caddy, particularly in NAF style.
Well, we'll see. It depends if they're 60 or 70 for the reroll. But I mean, the wrestle lads are just so ridiculous. An entire team
Yeah.
with wrestle linemen is absolutely amazing.
The wrestle piece seems like a complete player. I don't need another skill on it ever.
Right.
So we can just save for a random strength, right, and save for guard. Those are the 2 options.
So
Like,
in terms of,
it's just
say, even
incredible.
league or NAF play, actually it's the knights you're going to want to skill consistently and not really care about the others. They're just going to be disposable fodder that can move around, do some stuff with presumably AG3 plus, I'm going to guess. I mean, they're humans. They can't be suddenly AG4 plus, can they? Can they?
Yeah, like with the Imperial Nobility linemen are only 4, but have armor 7 and fend.
Yeah.
And I think as are going to be specifically different. They look armored. I think they're going to be armor 9. The move 5 would be good, I think, because otherwise they're going to be really expensive. Because if they're less than 70k for a 6-3-3-8, as we would have in old money, if that guy's 6-3-3-8 with wrestle, that's a pretty great player for 50 or 60k.
But if he's 5-3-3 and then either 8 plus or 9 plus or even 10 plus, is he not just a gnome without a hat?
He's a strength 3 gnome. And,
Well,
and I can take 16 of them.
And gnomes are a pain in the
You can
ass
take
as it is.
triple on a
Yeah.
primary.
This is the thing, right? This is the thing.
So we're not excited about the knights. We're excited about the squires. That's what we're saying.
Well, you haven't got to the cool bit about the Grail Knight and his ridiculous rule, right?
Well, is it his ridiculous rule? This
That's
is something
away.
we have had a little bit of a clarification on, isn't it? So there's going to be some Dauntless somewhere, whether it's all the knights, whether it's, I think, probably just the Grail Knights, we don't know as yet. There's going to be wrestle all over the place with the squires. We are going to have Nodes of Steel, pass and catch, but the passing game, unless it's changed massively, is still not going to appeal to a lot of people. But then we have steady footing. So as well as sure feet and stand firm, we now have steady footing. I mean, can Blood Bowl players, did they all fall down the stairs as kids and need training? What? Steady footing is going to let them keep their footing and stay standing on a roll of 6 any time, supposedly, they're about to be knocked down. Now, I felt knocked down meant it was only going to be, by maybe a fireball or a block. But someone in the know on Blood Bowl 3 has clarified that it's going to be any time they are going to fall over, including dodges and including go for it's. So how good is that? It's only coming on the Grail Knights on the Bretonian team. But is this another hit and run? Is this another seemingly awesome special ability that everyone's going to want to play that team for? JLeav, what do you think? You're the master of breaking things. Is this going to break things?
So let's say that I have a cage dive available to me with this Grail Knight, and I've put dodge on my Grail Knight.
Yep.
And it's into 3 tackle zones, so it's still a 6+, right?
Yep.
I have 4 opportunities now to roll a 6+ if I'm willing to invest a team reroll to dive into the cage, which is 52%. An elf with the dodge skill, and this entire extra agility stat that it's supposed to be better at, has a 55% chance of doing that. A measly 3% difference.
Right. And you're saying because you can use the dodge reroll on the dodge and then if you fall over, you can use steady footing and you can reroll steady footing. So that's your 4 6s right there.
That is 4 opportunities out of 6.
Wow. It sounds pretty good to me. Thank goodness it's only going to be on Grail Knights. But is it? Because it wasn't called a trait, and maybe trait's going to disappear as a term, and we should talk about that in a little bit, about terms under this edition of Blood Bowl. But it was described very specifically as a skill, and again, someone from the Blood Bowl 3 community who seemed to know this rule set. They seem to have had something they shouldn't have told us this much about because of NDAs, but a little bit of information has leaked. Very, very strongly hinted that it's going to be available to everybody. It's just going to be a skill you can pick. So how do we feel about that? Should we start getting these new sort of edge case skills available to all? And if so, is that going to shake the meta? Are we going to suddenly... I thought we might with defensive. And although we're seeing a little bit of defensive here and there, I don't think it's had quite the impact I thought it might. But surely this is going to, isn't it? Anything that cage dives, anything that runs with the ball, surely steady footing, I'm going to have to get used to that, is going to be somewhere, isn't it? What do you think, Caolan?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. So there's a bit later on in the article where they clarify that they have been working on the wording of stuff. So as us being complete rule nerds as well, will know that there's a difference between falling over, being knocked down, and being placed prone.
There is.
So which of those are they all going to be like that as well is the issue, right? Because if it works on the others, then it's very, 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 very good. If it works on knockdown, it's pretty decent. It's a nice, cool, 6-up ward save, as they'd say in the old world. which I think is really, really great. Just as in a quick aside as well, it is nowhere near as good as hit and run because hit and run doesn't require any dice rolls; it just works.
Yes.
So that's one of the reasons hit and run is so
And
absolutely
shouldn't be on blocks. It should only be on blitzes. But let's move on.
Whether or not other people are going to be able to get it, I think that's a really exciting thing. I think having a nice chat about it is as a potential is definitely going to be something that people on Blood Bowl competitive will want to talk about. Whether skills are going to be transferable across different things, I think that's it's really cool. It does open up some opportunities. How you go about getting them, is it a case of you having to roll for an agility stat, and if you don't get the agility thing you want, instead of being able to choose a secondary skill, you can choose a trait? That could be really, really cool. It means that it's very, very expensive, but you could tailor build somebody to do something amazing. Whether we're going to see a lot of that in tabletop, I doubt it. Are we going to see a lot of it in, like in TT leagues? Maybe. You could see it on a ladder. I don't think you're going to see it in competitive builds for tournaments because it's just not an option to take it there. So I think it could be a fun addition to specific leagues.
I love it when Caolan's wrong. So if it was available, so I'll say a general skill, where would we put it that it might not be thought of, and it isn't obviously it's on Grail Night. I've got a piece in mind that I might put it on. JLeav, I know you break things regularly in terms of rule sets, rosters, and indeed the hearts of everyone in America playing Blood Bowl. So where would you put a steady footing if you could put it on a piece? Who do you think would be benefiting from it?
I'm thinking War Dancers seem as the easiest. This is, you can take it as a second skill on them. Most anything else, it would need to be a third or later skill. Just like block dodge and are way better already still. Unless they've been buried under the ground and we don't know about that yet.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to give you a start of a 10. I was thinking that if I was building a dwarf roster, I might want it on a dwarf runner ahead of block. Because it's just going to be 1 in 6 times that you sack me. No, you haven't. I'm still standing and I'm carrying my ball. I mean, I just think that could be kind of cool and fun. Is there any other piece that you might think should have it, Krista? Where might we see steady footing cropping up?
I mean, catchers obviously or runners, but I wouldn't take it either. I mean, it's a 6+. It's a skill that you're spending a fair amount of resources on, and it's 1 in 6. I already don't take Dauntless, so this is worse.
There's a well-known either fantastic player of Blood Bowl or Dice Lord, depending on your opinion, called Crystal Hunter, who does love to build huge, great big Skaven teams with gutter runners with 5, 12, 18 different skills on them. Do you think he's going to be looking at steady footing as part of his chain now, just so he can one turn a bit more effectively and get into cages a bit more effectively? I do think your argument about it making cage diving even more frightening is interesting, JLeav. Is he going to be part of every gutter's desired chain of skills now?
One thing to consider also is what Morehouse said in chat, that maybe the turn ends if you do this.
Okay.
You can't continue.
I mean, maybe, but I have to say, our little whisper from my little whisperer from Blood Bowl 3 has sort of hinted that's not going to be the case, but we don't know for sure. That there are things which, for example, if you argue the call on a sent off, the player stays on the pitch, but the turn ends. So there are times where that, there's another dynamic where rolling a 6 does mean that, yes, the turn does end, even though nothing actually happens on the pitch. So maybe that is a shout. Who is to know?
The action can end as well. It doesn't have to be the full team turn. It can just be the action ends.
Right, so the player can't then, if he's failed one rush, if he has gone for his rush, there we are, that's going to trigger both sides, and failed it, but then rolls a 6, not allowed to try another one.
Yeah, or if you're trying to cage bomb or whatever, then you don't do the block.
Okay. All right, so that's steady footing. I don't think we've much more to say about that, except that it's exciting and interesting and has already got people at Twitter as to what it could be used for and is it going to be available to everyone.
I will say, as one last note, I do think it is a skill and not a trait, as that source that we've not actually named yet has mentioned the word skills, or has mentioned both skills and traits, and seems to reference steady footing as a skill.
I
Mhm.
personally don't plan to ever say who it was, except
Mhm.
by accident maybe. If anyone else wants to, you're completely fine too. I don't care less. But I want that person to continue to be ever so slightly less discreet than maybe they should be. So let's just thank
Dimmy
them for
doesn't
that
stream anymore.
and carry on. Caolan,
Dimmy doesn't stream anymore. It's fine. We can say that it's
good. Yeah,
Dimmy.
it all came from Dimmy G, who just
Yep.
breaks his NDAs left, right, and centre. That lovely, lovely, cuddleable man.
It's
Are
also
we?
it's football, right? It's on a 6. It's on a 6. Things
Yeah,
work on a 6.
yeah,
It's also very Games Workshop. Things work on a 6. On a
right.
6. On a
So
6, I can do this.
it's
On a 6, I can
not
do
to
this.
be frightened of, particularly if you've weighted the dice properly.
No, it's. I mean, it'll happen once in a while, and you'll be annoyed, but it also doesn't happen. There's lads in the chat mentioning foul appearance as well. I mean, who would choose to take foul appearance?
No, but I did
It's
think
the same thing. Do you know?
might a Wraith with steady footing be the most annoying piece in Blood Bowl now?
Ooh, that's pretty good. Hmm.
Because I mean, why would you ever bother blitzing him? There's a good chance you don't get to, and even if you do, there's a good chance it does nothing, even if you get a POW. And
Oh, that's lovely.
if it's just a push, it'll then sidestep.
Yep.
So I mean, you'd probably still take guard
Whoa,
first, but might steady footing be a second choice on a Wraith? I mean,
pretty cool.
I know someone's going to try that and just go, okay, hit it, fine.
I
You're
mean,
going to waste your turn.
the real hope is that it's replacing Pile Driver,
Yes, I think
right?
Pile Driver
And
just
then
doesn't
you're
get
gonna
used, does it?
roll random strength and get it and be like, woohoo! 1-6, I've got this, in the same way that you would if you rolled foul appearance. But yep. Anyway,
Yeah, I
interesting.
mean, at 10 TV, I think it would be worth it on just about anyone for a 6+ save on getting knocked over or falling over. I mean, it just reminds me also of the old stand firm, which was a hugely undervalued skill, but when it was both the skill it is in terms of not getting pushed, but also it meant if you failed a dodge, you just stopped. You didn't fall over. You stopped in the square you were going to dodge from. And that seemed to be something people didn't really realise how good that was until it was taken away. And Stone Firm was still a good skill without it. So I thought it was an incredible skill back then. So it's not entirely the first time we've had this sort of skill. If it is that half of Stand Firm coming back, I think that's kind of cool. But yes, whether it's going to be an agility skill or a strength skill, there just isn't room for it to be a general skill, surely. We'll find out where it lands. Hopefully, Pile Driver is gone. We know some skills are changing, and some are just changing how they impact. So we'll see. Um, Anything else that we want to talk about the Bretonians, except saying that this is not the return of the old Bretonian roster, is it? They do look very different. We're all agreed on that, aren't we?
Yeah. Cool choice.
The models are also very cool looking.
Yeah. They're
Yeah,
great.
there's a
They've
lot of
got a
different
lovely,
heads,
lovely
nice
full growth
poses.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
I
Those
do like the
people that
various animal helmets.
Yes, and those people that do the
And
painty things. It slightly triggered me
the
that when I looked through the ones they have up on the side, I couldn't tell which one the Grail Knights were until I realised it was one pose with two different heads. To me, there's two
Yeah.
heads that are obviously supposed to be Grail Knight heads, and they've
Well,
put
one of them
one.
literally has a lady on the top of it, and she's holding a blood bowl.
Yeah, is she? Oh, I haven't been in that close.
It's
Oh
so
yeah.
cool. Like,
Okay, that
yeah,
is cool. Yeah, I like that.
it's great.
But they've given
Yeah.
what to me seems like the other obvious Grail Knight. They've put it on somebody else, on I think one of the catchers. So I don't know. We'll see what people turn up with. But they certainly look really cool to me. And I'm going to say that when Gnomes came out, I said they would be a success with the painters, and just they've also been a success with people that love playing them because they might be the best stunty race out there right now. The fact that you can put primary skills on them and they do get notably better, as opposed to say goblins and flings that just don't. I think has made them a real top pick for people. They have some interesting stars too, and some really fun dynamics. And the Trickster, who is just the most annoying piece in Blood Bowl right now. So, yeah, I think they're really interesting. The Bretonians, I really like them. I think they're going to be hugely, hugely, hugely popular. And not just with the people of France, but I think all over people wanted something back that was in that Bretonian niche. And I really hope this is the thing that gets people excited. I hope they are fun to play. Um, but yeah, no big guy. All strength 3. I mean, we don't know that. The Grail Knights could be strength 4. They
Or
do.
the runners could be, or the catchers could be strength 2 as well, in keeping with the other humans.
And
But
still wearing
mass
all that
quest,
heavy armor. Yeah, maybe not. Move 5 would be my thing. Strength 3, but move 5. And then watch them catch the ball and not run away. That would be
With
hilarious.
Dauntless, it wouldn't be too terrible to have them at strength 2, but I don't see that happening.
Do we think Dauntless is going across the board? What do you
I think it's going on all 6. They just said Dauntless Knights. I feel like they would have been more specific. if it was just the Grail Knight.
Okay.
I have no idea because I mean, they're lovely guy lads and they write really fun articles, but they don't really know what they're talking about. Like there are lots of. It's funny, especially considering how they were saying that they're titling the rules things, and then there's obviously some things that they put in that are incorrect.
And Caolan, let's not be too down on people not knowing what they're talking about, because dude, really, there's an amount of Schadenfreude we just shouldn't do. Krista, Dauntless all over.
Sure.
And one
Why not?
final question on these. Then I do want to move on. We can always circle back. Are you looking forward to coaching Bretonians, JLeav?
Yes.
Okay, so they must be at least partly gamey. Caolan.
Yeah, mass wrestle, mate. Yeah, they're ridiculous. I think they're going to be awesome.
Okay, not because you just want to get your grubby little hands all over them and roll your dice into the middle of them and knock them over, but because you actually want to play the team.
It's a joke because I hand roll people who don't know. I hand roll. I don't use a dice.
We will cure you one day.
Yep, cool. Best of luck with it. I think that they're just going to be really, really. I can't wait to get my hands on them because I'm really looking forward to painting them, and I'm really, really excited about playing them because you got mass wrestle. It's ridiculous.
It does sound ridiculous. Let's see how they've balanced it in. No doubt, incredibly well. Krista, are you going to be playing Bretonians?
No,
No, you're not, are you?
they're humans.
Yeah.
I look forward to painting them as opposed to nobility, which just sucked.
See, I do have on people that paint. Sometimes. I also think the other reason you're not going to be playing them is the other one that's being released in the box is Tomb Kings, isn't it?
That too.
Just how excited were you by the fact that Tomb Kings are back, baby?
Very. I'm super happy to see them. I was almost half expecting them to just cancel them.
But they're definitely a Games Workshop brand. I think we all wanted them back, and now we have them. Now we did get some news about them, and when I asked you, and I knew you were excited, I knew you would be. I said, Krista, what's the thing that you're the most excited about? Do you remember what you said?
No.
You said in the lovely picture of the toys, there's a cat.
Oh, that too, yes. I mean,
There we
obviously,
are.
that's funny.
So Khemri
I
are going to
don't
come with a
actually-
cat, and that's got Krista excited.
Yeah, I don't actually mean that.
Sure.
It's funny. It's a cool cat. I like that it's a ball token as well,
Right.
instead
Yep.
of just a positional or something like that. But the models are beautiful. I love them. I love them.
Yeah, for those that don't know what we're talking about and just look at the actual models, you do need to go to the very final image, which of course has the tokens that nobody uses but everyone paints. And then also tends to have a couple of balls and maybe some other thing. The other thing is a very interesting looking sort of chest with a ball flying above it. And then one of the two balls is very definitely a cat. And I imagine people are going to be painting that with a great big smile on their face. He or she or they looks cute as anything. So hurrah for the cat. Much as I've sometimes taken the piss about the Animal Crossingization of Blood Bowl, people just love their animals. So one day we're going to get a full farm team. I predict it now.
I also think that this way of doing the little cat thing or animal thing is better than putting it as a positional.
Well, who's to say it isn't? I mean,
It's a ball.
we have beer boars, we have foxes.
Who knows?
Who's to say that
Who knows?
Nakara or Khemri or Tomb Kings or whatever they are do not come with an actual fieldable cat?
Maybe we get a star player. Who knows?
And if they don't now, I think they will in 10 years' time, because that's why Gutters, for a while, had that little... In the very first edition, they had a little dagger on their hip, didn't they? Someone grew up wanting that to do something, and then for a while we had this ridiculous stab that Gutter Runners did. So perhaps we'll get a cat. Caolan.
Yeah. The cat is awesome. Like the whole toys are great. Games Workshop make great toys, and that's why I've been their bitch for years. The Fox's being strength 2 is stupid.
It is, yes. Fox is strength 1 now. I'm 100% with you.
Fox harder than a bear, or a boar. Like I would, you'd give a shoe to a fox. A boar would make damage.
Yes, I've seen a boar. They're much more terrifying than pigs, and I'm quite frightened of pigs.
I would not kick a fox as well, for anybody who's listening. Again, any complaints, Dimmy_G.
There's a urban fox that lives outside our house, shits on my pathway. And he just doesn't care. I came back at like 9:30 last night. He was just wandering down the road. I saw him, walked towards him making a scary face. He just stood there sort of foxy mocking me. Foxes just don't give a damn, but they still shouldn't be strength 2. This was a wiry looking thing. He could outrun me, but if we came to a fight, I mean, I'd lose, but I'd have a good go. I'd have a really good go. Whereas with a boar, I'd be out of there in seconds. I've seen a boar, and they're absolutely terrifying. You're not wrong. Now let's get to the real meat of it. Tomb Kings will be familiar to seasoned coaches. That's the like of you and I, Krista, not the like of the baby-faced JLeav, of course. A reliably bashy team with up to 4 strength 5 Tomb Guardians. So we're still getting all the strength 5, all 4 of them. The big, I mean, not Mummy's Tomb Guardians will still be there. Hurrah! And they come with Brawler. Now, is this going to make them OP? Are we going to see an Amazon level increase in the power of Tomb Kings? Because we've been told they'll still have their 2 blitzers, they'll still have 2 throwers, and suitably durable skeleton linemen, which I guess means they're going to still have thick skull, but not actually any armor. The big and regen, of course. The big guys are tough. They've still got decay. We don't know what it does, but if it does what it does now, it's basically the same as a niggle. And all those ancient skeletons retain thick skull. Now, it does say all the ancient skeletons. I'm taking from that the blitzers and the throwers are going to keep thick skull, which they gained in their last update. So we've now got thick skull across the board on the skeletons, I think, and Brawler on the Tomb Kings.
One would hope.
Are they now going to be good, Krista? Are you excited about the power gain for your favourite race?
Not because of Brawler. The next paragraph changes things, though.
We'll come to that huge bombshell that will meta-shaking change that we have right there. But is Brawler a good addition on the Tomb Kings? And do they have to go up in price?
I wouldn't price them higher. Secure the ball makes a big difference
really
for next section. Brawler, sure, why not?
Okay, so prior to secure the ball,
nice.
because that's going to be the same for everybody, or not everybody, but lots of people. JLeav, you are the mastermind of the rule sets. What do you think about the new sounding Tomb Kings? Do you think Brawler's going to push them into that competitive arena?
I think Brawler is an interesting thing. It's going to make people build them better in NAF, where they'll actually take 4 guard on the big guys instead of using a skill to put block on one of them or something.
Yeah.
But
do you think we'll see block disappear on them? We won't even see secondaries used there.
Oh, you'll still see it.
Like the occasional defensive as well, yeah.
Yes, or defensive on them. But I think they've definitely gotten better from what we have in that little paragraph. I did take the fact that they talked about the linemen being durable to mean that they're the only ones with thick skull, which I think is a fair compromise for Brawler and the new edition that we haven't gotten to yet.
Krista, are we agreed if they take thick skull off our blitzers and throwers again, we riot?
I don't know.
Pitchfork.
I think if the throwers have thick skull, I riot.
Someone call Shearer.
The blitzers can have it.
We need to sort this out. We need a separate NAF rule set where they retain their thick skull. Okay, but surely we're going to try and touch on that later at some point. Spoiler alert, he's completely wrong still. But I'll tell you why. So, okay, let's come to the next paragraph, because we can't perhaps talk about Tomb Kings without talking about the hugest change that we know about in the meta, which is everyone's going to be able to pick the ball up, except probably ogres. And who cares? So they still have lower agility stat than most, but this minor downside, yeah, I mean, who needs to be able to dodge on anything less than a 4? I mean, who would want that? So this minor little tiny niggle they have of being completely rubbish at everything that makes people good at Blood Bowl is less of an issue these days with Secure the Ball. So what's going on with Secure the Ball? Well, Secure the Ball is an action. It's a declarable action like a throw or a pass or a pickup. And it's a type of pickup, but it's a pickup where if you have any opposition players within, is it 2 or 3 squares of the ball, you can't do it.
2.
2, that's right. I can read, but just quite slowly. But if there's no opposition players within 2 squares of where the ball is, anyone, we think, can declare they're going to secure the ball, and then when they go over and pick the ball up, it's a 2+. I mean, that's pretty huge for Khemri, isn't it? I certainly have spent 3 or 4 turns in the backfield thinking this ball is clearly made of glass. I'm never going to pick it up. We don't know if... Caolan.
I've done it with elves. Like, fucking, like, we've all had those games where you just can't fucking pick up the ball. you put the reroll into it, and you still can't pick up the ball.
I'd
Like-
suggest the key difference here is not your poor coaching, but elves can pick all elves can pick the ball up on a 2+, but now Khemri can too. That's the point. So yes, we can all roll endless ones.
Okay.
I'm aware of that. I've done it. But now Khemri will have to roll a 1 to not have picked the ball up. I mean, this is huge, isn't it?
It's massive.
Supposedly, though, sure hands doesn't work. It doesn't stack.
Right.
Because you're not
Right.
picking up the ball. You're securing
You're
the ball.
securing the ball, right?
Can you re-roll it? Is another huge question that we don't know.
Yes.
I think it's
Be
cool.
shocked if you couldn't.
Sure, it's a lovely bit of innovation. I think in general is my immediate take on it. I think we've all been stuck in those games where you just can't pick up the ball. Losing to rats because you can't pick up the ball, or losing to Wood Elves because you can't pick up the ball is just stupid.
I absolutely agree. But losing to Dark Elves because you can't pick up the ball is very, very different.
Yeah, that's fine because Dark Elves are fine. Losing to Goblins because you can't pick up the ball, absolutely fine, no problem.
Who could complain about that? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, there's no complaints. But the frustration of it's one of those things, because if you're teaching somebody how to play the game, one of the first things that they do is try to pick up the ball on their drive, and you go, don't do that. That's a terrible idea.
Why would you want the ball?
That might result in a turnover immediately, and you won't have done anything. So it's weird to tell somebody that the very first thing that they do is not secure the ball, but now we have a secure the ball. The fact that it's his own action, the fact that you can't do a pass or a handoff or anything else afterwards, the fact that it ends, all you do is go over and jump on the ball like a hot grenade. That's your action. I think it's really, really clever. I think it's a lovely bit of innovation, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it uses. Is it open for some other stuff later on? Maybe, sure. And definitely it helps some of the bashier teams. But in general, I think it's a really, really nice bit of innovation.
The first thing we need to clarify is, again, if you are reading alongside us, or you do at any point read the Warhammer release about these rules, it says that if you use the secure the ball action, you get to pick up on a 2+. It's a once per turn action, and using it ends your turn. So that was a bit of a worry to people, thinking, oh, wow, okay, so I'll do all my other stuff first, and then I will secure the ball as my final part of that turn's moves. It has been clarified, and again, not necessarily by someone that wrote the rules, but someone who claims to have read all of the rules, but has an NDA and definitely can't tell us anything at all, as it will end the player's turn and not the team's turn. So anyone using secure the ball, that'll be the last thing you do. You will not move on afterwards. But maybe your 10 other players will, and you can finally pick the ball up as your first thing. So I think that's kind of interesting. What did you think about that clarification? Just any of you, really. I don't know who I brought in more or less.
I think about the clarification, I don't think that makes too big of a difference. You're going to take your blocks anyways. You're going to double screen before you pick up. That's what you do. But yeah, I don't really have anything to say about that being a clarification on secure the ball.
Okay. Krista, did
All right,
that...
Mr. 82% over here. All right, whatever.
Well, I'm going to come circling right back to that after this, I promise you. Krista, what do you think? Secure the ball. Does it sound good? And are you surprised it's only the player, not the whole team?
I think it's interesting the way it's written and sort of clarified. I think it can be good for the game. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think it's particularly fun to try to pick up the ball 2 or 3 turns in a row and fail. Even if, I mean, I'm playing Tomb Kings a lot. I do that a lot, right? But it's not an interesting way to lose a game. And having secure the ball to remove that risk is good for the game, I think. It will change a lot. There will be a lot of, I mean, Bash teams are just outright better.
I mean, is it that big a change? Because if I've got a Tomb Kings or Khemri or whatever throw Ra who's got sure hands and it isn't raining, I can pick the ball up 75% of the time. Now, I'm not JLeav level of maths, but I have got plenty of fingers, and sometimes I'll take my socks off if I really need it. And doing some rough addition, I reckon on a 2+, if I can't use a reroll, it's about 83-84% to pick up. So that's better, but it's not loads
I think you
better.
can use I think you can use a team reroll. That would make sense.
Are we expecting a
Mhm.
team reroll, JLeav, and was I close with the maths?
I would expect a team reroll.
Okay, so I can up that to really quite likely.
97%.
97%. Thank you very much. I knew you'd know. You've got a chart somewhere with it. You've worked it all out already, haven't you?
It's all up here.
Yeah, that's where I meant the chart was. Good. So 97%. That's a lot better than 75%, isn't it? Because I wouldn't walk across a bridge that was, a 1 in 4 chance of me dying. I probably would walk across the one that was a 3% chance of me dying if there was something really good on the other side. It would have to be really good, though, like Angelina Jolie level good.
I was waiting for the Angelina Jolie.
It was always coming, wasn't it? And I'm not going to extend that joke any further, or we won't be allowed on YouTube. Caolan, what do you think of it?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's fantastic. I think it's really, really good. You're not going to have rage quit from newer players because they can't do something. I think it's a lot more limiting than I think people are giving it credit for. It's just a new thing. And so a lot of the worry was about who it is that can do it. And fair enough. We might have to wait and see what'll happen as to who's going to pick it up. But if you're worried about something that has to pick it up, that like, people are going, oh, you just pick it up with your Saurus or your Bull Centaur.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a long way to go, Like, you've still got a long way to go across the thing. And if you're trying to quick score, it's not really going to come up. What I think is really interesting is if you manage to spoil the ball in the middle of your opponent's half.
Okay, there's a lot going on there, Caolan. So just hold up, my friend. First of all, I've got the Caolan bullshit detector pinging at me. Sauruses and Bull Centaurs are not slow, mate. Their problem is they don't have agility. If they've got the ball, they still move 6 at least. That's not slow.
Fair. I should have said not agile.
Right. However, yes, so you can still maybe tie them down, and definitely they won't be able to blitz flee or anything like that. They'll just be stuck. So we have also heard that there is going to be, certainly big guys, we expect not to be able to do this action. So haha, ogres. Just continue to get your most Kaz. You will not win. You're not supposed to. But are we also thinking that strength 4 may not? Jam Toast in the chat was saying that they believe that there might be a trait added, or was that BB Jock or JD Whitey? I don't know. I'm not really reading it. But someone in the chat said there's going to be a trait added to strength 4 players, meaning they don't get to use this. Do we think that's coming, and do we think that would be a good idea?
I mean,
I think it will be a keyword.
We'll come on to keywords.
I think it'll be a trait or keyword or some sort. But
right.
Yeah, that's certainly coming. I'm sure that with Bull Centaurs being their own 18-pound positional, they will not have no secure the ball trait.
Okay.
Just to make sure people spend the extra $18.
So you think they'll let Bull Centaurs do it, but maybe not? I mean, I was thinking, just a mad flight of fancy as I was in the bath. That's an image that no one needs. I was thinking perhaps they're going to use the word blocker as a keyword, and blockers can't pick it up. So Amazon blockers couldn't. Sauruses might be called Saurus blockers, and they couldn't. Yeah. That would be a nice, easy way to do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because you got like stuff like Beastman, Lineman, Runner, and that's what they're runners and things like that. So if you have this keyword, then you're not able to do it. Black Orc blocker, big on blocker.
And I'm sure we all believe that you were thinking what I was thinking after I've already said it, Caolan. That's 100% very likely.
Seldom differ.
Indeed. So we're all excited about this. I think it's going to be an interesting change, but what's it going to do to JLeav's 82% win rate when he can no longer just get all sorts of elves and rats between the line of scrimmage and where the ball is? And simultaneously, is it going to make kick something people actually take now? Because if it ends your turn to secure it and it's deep in the backfield, you can still put that pressure on. JLeav, Jacques, are you worried about this? Is it going to hurt you, my friend?
Yes, this is the second rule change that they've teased, or not necessarily rule change, the second teased thing that just seems to be, oh, you're not elves, buff.
Because, I mean, elves are doing quite well, so...
Yes.
Is it going to be a problem? Is it going to change how we play them? Is this the shake-up in every roster that we're hearing about?
I think it's going to mean that the elf defense is now... You only do one thing. You only double screen. Why would I go into your backfield before you've picked the ball up? You've picked the ball up.
Because I can still press the back of your cage and pull you apart and do lovely things. I don't just have to get to the ball before you. I do have other options than elf. But if we do face just walls of elves, I mean, that's going to be horrifically dull, isn't it? It already is when we face it.
Yeah, that's what I think this is going with elf defense.
Now, Caolan,
And I don't like it.
is that the distant sound I hear of Sol, the Rat King, and Olivia Delac consoling each other? And do we
Well,
care?
there's immediate. Well, I mean, there's part of me that kind of doesn't, but there's also fucking rat coaches. Crystal Hunter as well. Throw him under the bus.
Yeah,
while I'm at
all
it.
three of them.
Yeah. So there's ways around it, right? Like, so I mean, it's very funny because I've been on other places where I've talked about how how I think kick is one of the most overrated skills in the game. Kick's actually quite good now. Being able to kick the ball where you're able to put 4 elves within 2 squares of it next turn. And if you get the blitz, I can put 4 guys within 2 squares of this. Now you can't secure the ball. The limitations on this are massive.
Because, of course, 1, you'll just knock it out of the way or kill it. But 4,
yeah,
harder
like
to
if
do.
you can get a bunch of guys just in and around, I think all of a sudden you just can't do it, right? So there'll be innovations, I think, in how people are kicking, innovations in how people are defending. There's going to be, you're not just going to screen like, protect 5. You're going to have to do some other stuff to be able to get some impact into what you're doing. Protecting against the blitz might not be good enough. You might need to also protect against blitz kick, and the other skill as well that might come up is fumble Ruski, and how you can fumble Ruski a secure the ball.
I mean,
Yep, I just want to say it because I know people are going to watch it and go like, "Well, this is a bunch of toxic elite lads." And then some guy came on and talked
so
about
you wanted
how
to say
fumble
something
Ruski
stupid
might
so
actually be
that people
something that's-
empathise with you, or
I just
so that
want-
we can
I
attract
want
some.
more people
Oh
coming
God, I
over to
shouldn't do this
Ireland to
joke, but
play
I'm going
games
to.
against. If I'm the
Yeah.
if I'm the voice of Irish Blood Bowl, people are going, "Well, I'm going to go over and get an easy win in Ireland because that Irish lad is talking about fumble Ruski."
Perhaps I do want the sort of content that Bonehead podcast listeners will enjoy.
Anything to get larger tournaments in Ireland.
I love
right?
the Bonehead
Right?
podcast. I
Yeah.
love the people.
Guinness, fumble Ruski.
Okay, I mean, I think that's hilarious, and you're completely wrong, but I think you are. So I'm going to move on swiftly to someone whose face I can see, and I can read the sarcasm as they speak it, rather than just know it's there.
That's why I'm here, Dave.
It is
Content.
it is content, yes. So we're going to see fumble Ruski. Okay, we're not. That's not happening. I do think it's exciting. I do think it's interesting. I completely agree with Morehouse. Actually, my plan has never been get to the ball because you haven't picked it up. But then that's because I don't tend to coach a lot of woodies and rats. And with pro or with dark elves, the 2 elves that I do coach, or even high elves, I tend to find it's better for me to get a mass of my team between the line of scrimmage and wherever the ball carrier and whoever you've sent back with him is, and prevent him getting into that, securing the ball as we would call it, or I mean, we shouldn't call it that anymore because now that's a skill. So stabilizing or normalizing, or yes, anything that we tend to use for that bit where you've got it in a nice cage and now you start to try and drive forwards. So my plan has always been to get in the way of that rather than for you to not pick the ball up. So I think that tactic will still be valid. I think we can still do that. But on the other hand, yeah, I do think kick's going to be even more valuable because the deeper you can do that, people aren't going to want to, pick it up 1 square from the back line and then stop dead there. Even those couple of spaces forwards after the pickup is so useful in terms of securing it and stabilizing in the next turn. That maybe people are going to be forced into some hard choices, and I like hard choices in Blood Bowl. I think that's a good thing. So yeah, we'll see. And maybe if it comes joined, as Morehouse has just said, with Hail Mary pass being not as entirely completely rubbish, perhaps we'll start to see some Hail Mary pass used. But we won't. That's like fumble Ruski. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so there's been other rule changes. This is going to be a big one, and they have hinted there aren't going to be that many, but that this is not alone. So we'll see what else changes. 2 things I think everybody can get behind, I would hope, is that we're going to have a new kickoff table, and they're going to take out officious ref. I actually threw a party. No one came, but I threw a party when I read that specific line. Can anyone defend officious ref in any way? Are any of you 3 going to tell me? I mean, Caolan will try to. But is anyone going to tell me it was a good thing and that losing it is a bad thing? JLeav, surely it's a great change.
The only reason I can think of liking it is when your opponent brings a megastar to the game.
but then you're still going to hate them for doing it, even if it did get sent off on turn one before it's done anything. It doesn't change
Yeah.
who that human is and how their mind works. Krista, it's good that it's gone, isn't it? This is a quick one, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. The thing that worries me about this sentence here is that kickoff table has been improved.
Of course
We
it
heard
has.
that about
Why would they make it
we heard
worse?
that about we heard it about passing for 2020.
We did. This was going to be the passing rule set. Passing was going to be back, baby.
I
It isn't.
hope that this is actually an actual improvement.
Okay.
How could they make such a big mess out of the kickoff table
Well,
like they did with passing?
they
I don't
really
know.
did. So,
The
Caolan,
new kickoff
say
table, you
something
just
mad that
skip it,
makes
you
me
always
laugh.
roll a 6. Cheering
No, I
fans.
think absolutely delighted that we got rid of a fish ref. People saying bring back the rock. I honestly I would have preferred if they just kept the rock, because at least you could appo something. You know, you could the fact that there was no recourse to
I,
a fish's ref made it absolutely stupid.
I liked the Rampage films. I'm always up for bringing back The Rock. I think he's great at
Hey,
everything he does.
hey.
But if we stay on Blood Bowl, I'm very glad a Fisher's Ref has gone. I thought it was a
Yep,
shit rule for shit people.
it can get
Anything.
in the fucking bin.
How do you explain to someone, okay, before we start the game, that player of yours, yeah, that's gone now. I
Yeah.
mean, stunned was kind of bad because the team taking the first action have got that player back really quickly. The team that's going second, they're waiting an enormous amount of time before that player's doing anything effective at all. So I'm not crazy on stuns, even when it was on both sides. It wasn't balanced. But for one player, perhaps when you both get it, and one player to be stunned and back next turn, and the other player, that's just gone forever because you've rolled a one that you can't even bribe, you can't even argue. No, that was bad. So bin it. Also gone is Wildly Stupid Pass. I don't think I've ever used its real name, and I now won't have to. Can anyone defend Wildly Stupid Pass?
No,
Krista, can
no.
you?
Well, I what I heard was that it was added to avoid people just chucking the ball, and I don't know.
Yes,
I
the,
think it's
the
a
pass
stupid rule.
punt to get it up the field when you're under pressure. I think it
Yeah,
was brought in to stop that, as well
yeah.
as giving zombies no passing skill and witch elves passing on a 5.
If you're at a point where you need to punt the ball, you're kind of lost anyway.
Well, unless you successfully punt it half a field away, in which case you haven't, which is why people did it. JLeav,
Yeah.
without Wildly Stupid Pass, are your elves going to be able to punt the ball? Is this a good thing?
Um, well, they might be reverting it back to fumbling
Yeah.
if you fail enough to inaccurate it. I think Wildly Inaccurate had an opportunity to exist, and they did it wrong. I think if you would have naturally passed your passing stat, that could be an inaccurate pass. If you would have naturally failed your passing stat, that then becomes a wildly inaccurate pass. So you're trying that 5+ throw with your OWA dwarf blocker, and he rolls a 4, wildly inaccurate. He rolls a 5, inaccurate.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, my idea was always perhaps we could use the scatter template. And if it's wildly inaccurate, you just have the scatter template. So, 1 and 2 is 45 degrees off to the left. 5 and 6 is 45 degrees off to the right. And then still a 3 or 4, it's in the direction you wanted, but it is still that 1d6 rather than anywhere near where you were trying to throw it. I thought that could still be wildly inaccurate without being completely stupid. But instead, we're just getting rid of it. So I think that's a good thing. And I do think we're just going to have a lot more fumbles. I'm not sure that's a bad thing because I've never met anyone that really thought Wildly Stupid Pass was a good idea. So we've got rid.
Well,
Hurrah!
you can cater for a fumble. You can cater for an inaccurate. You can't cater for a kickoff event, a kickoff randomly in the middle of a fucking turn. Like it
Totally.
just meant that you'd never throw the ball. The rules are written in such a way that you're going, oh, okay, fine, you got the passing stat. Oh, okay, this is that, and that's all fine. And then, okay, that's how passing works. And then they had another paragraph about wildly inaccurate and went, well, I'm just never throwing the ball then.
It does mean we won't get any more of the joyfully silly, wildly inaccurate pass where someone throws it 6 spaces backwards and someone in the end zone catches it and it's a touchdown for the other team, which I haven't done, but I have seen done on a table I was watching. Not done against me or by me. But
There's some
that
nice
that was a
reporting.
beautiful Blood Bowl moment, but still a shit rule. Nothing about prayers to nonsense, so I guess they're staying. I mean, I'd have taken them out, wouldn't you? Aren't they just completely pointless and irrelevant and annoying? There's like two that are
There's
good,
like,
and the rest are either irrelevant or awful.
yeah, that's exactly right. There's 2 that are good, 1 that is just genuinely terrible, and then 13 that do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I think they're fine. I think they're fun. I don't really care enough about it. I don't think they've ever had enough because of the fact that they're kind of meh. They don't really have a huge amount of impact in the game in general. The poor old Norse lineman in a blizzard on double molehills is something that for
They still
comedic
can
value
rush on a
alone.
6, even with
And they
Yes.
double
could get
molehills in a
steady
blizzard.
footing.
Yeah.
They could get steady footing, and then they'd have 2 chances: a 6 to make it and a 6 to not fall over. It's the new meta. Come on, they said there's a meta shake-up, and that's what it's going to be. Okay, so we're not getting rid of the prayers to nonsense. We are getting rid of stupid pass, and we are getting rid of just awful, awful ref. But in the same paragraph, we get something very interesting, which I need to have explained to me because I'm not very smart. And I pretty much banked on Caolan feeling the same. But he's already talked it up as a change he's looking forward to. So I guess I am alone in not understanding why should I care that keywords are coming in. Now, whilst I suspect, as I said, I thought this would be a Krista and JLeav bit with me and Caolan going, okay, I see. It turns out that's just me. So I will come to you on this, Caolan, but I am going to start with Krista because this sounds like the sort of thing that someone that codes sites is going to get excited about. Am I right?
Absolutely. I think that they started with 2020. They tried, but they didn't have the time to finish the job. That's why keywords exist now. The rules were on their way there, but they never got there. The reason that it's important is not for players in general, right? When you're playing the game, it doesn't matter if there are keywords. The big deal for me is that it clarifies the rule set. Right now, the 2020 rules are horrible to actually figure out what are we actually supposed to do. There are interactions that are incredibly complicated to understand at all because they don't have keywords. Keywords are just saying if this, then that.
Right,
This, if you have this keyword, you get this rule. If you don't have that keyword, you don't get that rule.
right.
That clarifies the rule set for, I mean, tournament organizer or people who have to like ref a match. You have to figure out what do the rules actually say. They won't get 100% correct. They just won't. This is the first time they do it. There's going to be some complex things, but it simplifies things to just know what the rules are supposed to be.
And from coding new rules in and from changing things, it sounds like that's really useful, yeah?
Absolutely.
You have these pegs to hang things on and know exactly where they are supposed to be.
Yes, and just make rulings of how do things interact.
Okay.
When can you use this? How does the blitz kickoff event? What skills can you use in a blitz kickoff?
JLeav, explain to me in very simple terms why I, as a player, should give a shit.
Can you tell me what skills and traits work with a bomb versus a ball?
I could have a go. But
That's
no.
that's why keywords are nice.
Okay. All right.
Because the ball is a keyword technically when you refer to that from Bombardier. So the skill catch says when you catch a ball, not when you catch something from a pass action. So you cannot use catch when trying to catch a bomb. Don't know why, but that's what the errata said. Diving catch, you can use half of diving catch with a bomb. If somebody throws an accurate pass to your tile, you can use diving catch to receive a +1 because it was an accurate pass action
Great.
to
That's
your
what diving
tile.
catch does. I understand that.
You cannot, though, catch a bomb that is landing in a tile adjacent to you because that says you can catch a ball landing in a tile adjacent to you.
Okay. So
Keywords being more consistent and such leads to way easier rules to understand for people. And obviously, I handpicked a very niche one, but that's because there's a ton of confusing rules for it.
if
It's a
someone threw a
fantastic
bomb at me and I had diving catch for some reason, I don't know, presumably I've got it on a bet, or I'm playing Caolan, so it doesn't really matter. I would think, hang on, I've got catch, that's the square next to me, I can do diving catch, I will diving catch that. And I'd be wrong, I can't do that.
Right.
So he'd call for a ref and I'd be humiliated in front of everyone. So this is going to stop me being humiliated by not really knowing the rules. Good. Caolan,
Hopefully.
why have
By-
you
by
known
another-
about this, and why are
hand
you
roller.
excited?
I'm embarrassed by a filthy hand roller, no less. It's the same as what we were saying earlier. That's a fantastic example. The diving catch and bomb and all the rest of that. I think
Right.
that's a really great way of being able to explain it to people. For anybody who runs an event, any TO, anybody who's programming the computer to let it know what's going on, keywords are massive, and they went to some very specific efforts in their version of second season to try to make these really, really consistent. And they were very close to getting it right, and they didn't.
Yeah,
And
I felt the same about they got rid of Fan Factor, and I was like, hooray! But we've kept it for just the roles of 11 and 12, the two most
Correct.
hard to get ones. And I just sort of felt they got 2/3 of the way through the rules, and then handed it over to the work experience guy on a Friday while they all went down the pub.
it's the same thing that happened with Wildly Inaccurate, right? They got the
Yeah.
first couple of. But it's the same thing that happens with any Games Workshop game where two people are arguing over something. One of them has read the first paragraph. The other guy has read the second paragraph, and neither of them have read the third paragraph, where both of them are wrong. So that Games Workshop rules writing in a nutshell, and any TO will appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it's like we
Yeah,
mentioned earlier on as well. Is there falling over? Are you placed prone, or are you knocked down? They went to strides to explain why those three are very different things, because some of them risk injury, which is also a thing, and others don't, right? So they were very close to getting it almost exactly right. And the fact that they're going to tidy this up is something I think is really, really exciting. Will they get it right? I doubt it. Will they have some issues of sequential issues, which is the main, everything comes back to what the sequence is. If I'm a guy with a nega trait on the ground with jump up attacking a guy with foul appearance and dump off, what happens? Right? It's an hilarious concept of having all of these various different things to do it, but it happens, right? One in however many times it happens. We've all played Blood Bowl, and these things, weird interactions come up, and you're like, actually, it works like this. Yes, I know it doesn't make sense. We've decided that we're going to do this. And like Chris, you said earlier on, you're running an event and you're just going, I don't know. We have to roll a dice, but you can't do that if you're running an event. If you're taking it seriously, you have to have had conversations with other people like Chris here and like JLeav to go, what do you think of this? Because it was that whole thing of whether or not you had to have 11 players when you redraft, and lads going like, I don't know about that actually. Do you have to? And yes, you do, but for very specific reasons. Although JLeav and I disagree on it still, but that's fine, right? Because both of us are technically right, because one of them is doing this and one of them is the other. And if I'm TOing a thing, I'm like, by 11 lads, shut up. And JLeav was like, well, that's not what it says.
I mean, I did lose interest about halfway through, but when you said that me and JLeav disagree, I already thought, well, I'm on JLeav's side then. So that seems settled to me. I have
Just
to say
wait until you hear a debate on Frenzy.
Yeah, I have to say a second big thank you to Jam Toast. Enjoying you in the chat tonight. A really nice thought there that also for people like me, they're not super smart, that likes playing Blood Bowl, keywords are going to be good for swapping between different races. Because things that made sense on one race, the new race will have the same keywords on the same types of positionals. They're going to instantly make more sense to me than if I have to feel I'm relearning everything. And I think that does sound like a huge benefit. So I'm all about that. Thank you, Jam Toast. No one else has pointed that out, and I think that's a pretty smart insight too. But yes, Shepard's right. There are still mistakes we can make when keywords help with everything. They still won't help you get your TV right. That's just never going away. Okay, I worry there's a small community of Blood Bowlers that I love. The beards, are they going to have nothing to argue about? Is it going to sort the rules out to the point where there's a problem and everyone just goes, well, it's that. Look, it's this keyword and that rule. Surely one of the joys of Blood Bowl is 3 people with 4 different reasons as to why someone else is wrong.
Well, I mean, yes, of course there's going to be loads of things like that. But, I mean, we're not playing Battletech, right? It's not 2 guys with a clipboard not talking to each other. There is a little bit more interaction happening. But, yes, there's certainly going to be rules discrepancies. And I think there's definitely... we're not going to have an FAQ probably for a couple of, maybe 6 months.
Oh, excellent.
And in that time, there's going to be a lot of room for discussion. There's going to be a lot of room for open-ended questions and whether stuff just works or doesn't work, or yeah, there's definitely going to be some problems.
I mean, I don't
Like the rule
want
book
the rules
originally
lawyers
didn't
out of
cover it.
business, because then they're going to
Yeah,
start, you know,
100%.
just getting in my face about stuff, and I don't want that. I want them getting in each other's faces and arguing for endless amounts of time about things I don't give a shit about. That's
We'll be
very
I mean,
fine.
much where they
there,
should
Yeah.
be.
there's also the sequencing thing that Caolan that he brought up is also instrumental. It's super important, and I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, let's hope that they clarify sequencing. We'll see.
I mean, a vampire on the ground who was hypno-gazed has bonehead from a prayer to nonsense, and decides to blitz someone with foul appearance. I mean, I have no idea what I'm supposed to roll or in what order. I'm just going to roll some dice and smile a lot and hope my opponent doesn't know either. Or
Yep.
trust whichever computer version I'm working, because Candlejack or presumably Gautier and his team have worked it out much better than I'm going to need to. So I just trust it, and then I do it, and then someone says, oh yeah, but they got it wrong, or you've got it wrong, or that person you trust is full of nonsense. And I don't know. I really don't. So if that was made simpler, that would be good for me. Okay, we do need to crack on. There's so many other changes, and they all sound really interesting. The next thing I want to talk about is that Games Workshop wants to replace all of my turn markers with little bits of plastic I have to paint. So that won't work because they haven't realised I won't paint things. But we're going to get rooted tokens in the box. We're going to get blitz tokens in the box. We're going to get prone. We're going to get stunned. And we're going to get, I think everyone's behind this, instead of hypnogaze or bonehead or really stupid, that's all just going to be called distracted now, and we're going to get a new distracted marker. And I would guess, it's only a guess, that distracted is going to mean what hypnogaze means, that none of your skills work, but maybe not, who knows. Perhaps the needed nerf to vampires is that you won't be able to turn all the skills off. Again, who knows, that's probably going to be keyword sorted. So firstly, are we excited about these new markers? Is that a good thing? And does it legitimize the markers that people have been collecting and using for years anyway? Is this a case of the rules following the players' behaviors? That seems good to me.
And
Yeah,
use the hypnogaze band for whatever lack of tackle zones any player has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, isn't it? So why do we have 18 different types of band?
yeah.
I
But
think the
again,
answer
this
to
is
that is because Charlie Victor makes really nice bands, and we all like Charlie Victor making enough money to stay in Blood Bowl.
it goes back to the keyword thing as well, though. But just having a thing that's called distracted means that you just have a distracted guy, and that means like so a player who is distracted has no tackle zones is a simple thing for you, and then bam,
Yeah.
done. You can move on.
Some people have
The
decided to
fact-
wear big skill bands as bracelets. I'd never wanted one. I just won one the other day, actually, that says Superstar. Like, I'm going to wear that. But if I had one that said Distracted, I definitely would.
Mhm.
And everyone with a little bit of ADHD, I think, is going to want one of those too. Krista, are these markers good things? And are you going to be looking forward to painting them?
I don't care about the painting. It's just whatever. But sure, it's good.
Some people
I
are
mean,
very cross.
there's some prone and stun markers,
Yeah.
right? They're maybe. I mean, I'll still want to lay my players down.
Yeah,
to make
as James
clearer.
famously sang, "Oh, lay down next to me." Um, I've got some pieces that are still the old-fashioned metal ones that have the very much two faces, and you can put them face down, face up really easily. I have some lovely plastic ones painted by people that sell them on eBay, and that's much harder. So I've been slipping stunned and
Yeah,
markers
I mean,
under
it
them.
makes sense, right? It doesn't change anything.
But there are
in reality.
heretics
People
out there,
use the
Krista. How
marker.
dare you be positive about this nonsense? There are people out there
We
saying,
gotta,
well, now my beautifully painted team will stay on its feet for the entire game. And if you've knocked it over, you're just
yeah,
going to have to imagine it. All I'm going to do is put a little piece of plastic next to it saying,
yeah.
this thing standing up is now lying down.
I don't think people
And
will
they're
do
going to
that. But
make
yes,
me adjust to their insanity about their care, not varnishing their pieces. Surely
thing that
someone
I'm
agrees
most
with me that this is wrong and this must stop.
the thing I'm
First,
most
people are
excited
hand
about
rolling.
is
Now people are putting a little marker to show that their guy's lying down.
I mean, where does it
Unbelievable.
end, JLeav? Where does it end?
the possession token is good. I think that's a really genuinely a good thing.
Yeah, they've
The
put a
other
ball
ones,
token in, which we've all been
sure.
using for a decade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's good that there's a first party.
Those little plastic balls. I mean, when you come across someone that's trying to poke a little plastic ball into there, I kind of want to give them a hug and go, oh, come on, look, it's sweet, but have one of these. I have 5. And someone stole my latest Charlie Victor one. It's going to be on
Whoa.
my Christmas list. I can't live without a Charlie Victor ball token, despite having 6 others. Caolan, people not lying their figures down, are you going to defend them?
No, I think you have to put your model on the table and you have to put the token facing underneath. So it's if it's stunned or prone, I think that's absolutely fine. There's a plethora of them around the place. I mean, look, if you're playing your local buddy and you want to have the thing and you don't want to put it down because you like your toys and stuff, I have no problem with it. If you're playing at a tournament where you're being competitive, you have to put it down so that the board is readable. The point of us using them and the point of them implementing them is that you should at a glance be able to figure out what's going on the table. So I was a little bit adverse to the what I refer to as the Blood Bowl tat that people give out and stuff. But since I've started using it, I'm a complete convert. I absolutely love my Blitz token. I think it's brilliant. The anything that can take away an argument I'm having about which square I started in when I did the thing, or that guy's stunned now, and this is when I take the thing off. Anything that can reduce an argument, because one of the great things about Blood Bowl is that there are no gotchas in
Yeah.
Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think anything that can help with the ease of play and the fact that that remains a constant is absolutely imperative.
And you can't make a ruler. Well, you mean you can for passing, but people don't tend to use the passing ruler. You can't make a ruler where your centimeters are that little bit longer to give you that edge in Warhammer games.
Indeed. Yeah.
40k people, let's just pity them. We don't have to hate them. We can just pity them and try and help them to a better world. Again, Jam and Toast coming in with a lovely, lovely thing here. The real travesty is that they aren't hats. Have they missed an opportunity that everyone could stand up and just have a little hat on? The answer is no, Jam Toast. You've had two good ones, and you've blown a lot of the credit you've gained there. We want our figures lying down. Now, don't be wrong. I was obviously being silly earlier. If I'm playing someone, I will ask, even if their pieces look like mine do, like awful, awful bits of crap that they've painted with a roller. I will ask, is it okay to touch your pieces? Because sometimes I might want to lie one down or something if you're not. So I'll always ask, and if they say no, I'll think the worst of them, but I won't touch their pieces. I guess if someone says I don't even want my pieces to lie down, look at how beautiful they are, I will try and adjust because I kind of think I should try and be nice. But it's I'm not going to like that. I have to confess, I think that's going to be tough for me to make that adjustment. But adjust we sometimes have to. Maybe in 10 years we'll be looking about. Do you remember when people used to lie their pieces down? Could you imagine? Maybe so. Perhaps we're all just old, and perhaps the new generation will think we're crazy. Now, there are some markers that are brand new to us, so let's have a little think about those. We're also going to get a marker for dodgy snack, chomped, and eye gouge. Now, it does go on to say that we get a little bit about this. We hear that distracted is now the catch-all term for all players standing that have lost their tackle zones, including boneheads, hypnotized. Chomped is inflicted by the revamped monstrous mouth skill. And the new eye gouge skill prevents players from offering assists, and dodgy snack is the result of a kickoff event. So is dodgy snack going to replace officious ref, we think? And if so, what might it do? Krista, you've seen a lot of rule sets in your time since you were a lad of 5 that started programming Fumble. What do you think is coming with dodgy snack?
I have no clue. That sounds like a gimmick to me.
Okay.
More than anything. It's just someone wants to make Blood Bowl more of a beer and pretzels game.
Eye gouge is going to be something we can apparently do. It's going to be a skill, not it's not a passive either. It's an active, isn't it? Because if it creates an effect, it has to be something that's done rather than say defensive, which is it's a passive. You have to understand it's there and deal with it. But you'll be able to eye gouge people. Is this going to replace? Is this the strength skill replacing Pile Driver? We're assuming Pile Driver might go because it's shit and no one takes it. JLeav?
There is a team called the Eye
Caolan.
Gougers. There is a team called the Eye Gougers. I imagine it's something maybe that some of the titchy guys have, or maybe some stunties are able to do. That they're able to stop you from. So it stops you from lending assists.
My wife is 5 foot and nothing, and I am very nearly 6 foot. She can cause enormous amounts of damage to me, but she cannot gouge my eyes. If a snotling can gouge an ogre's eyes, I'm not going to love it.
Yeah, but they just climb all over you, right? Also, 6 foot, mate. We were hanging around last
Sorry, we're
weekend.
still on the snotlings or my wife. But yes, they. I mean, climb all over, walk all over, one or the other.
Hey.
JLeav, where do you think eye gouge is fitting in this game of ours?
I think eye gouge replaces defensive.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically hypno gaze, but only for assists.
So you think we might lose defensive and gain eye gouge instead?
I think so, yeah.
Ah, okay. There's a shot in the dark. Didn't see that one coming. And then obviously, as well as chomped and eye gouge, we have the triumvirate of weird new things, which is dodgy snack, chomped. What's going to go on with chomped? Again, it's a status. So Monstrous Mouth, which I've really liked quite secretly. We had a tournament in London where you had a pretty standard rule pack, and then on top of it you could throw 3 mutations, all on one or spread them out. There was no other stacking, so you could suddenly have a superstar with 3 mutations and a single skill, or you could spread them across. And I gave a Vamp Runner Monstrous Mouth because, of course, it means they can catch, which I thought was useful, and it means they're not strippable, which I also thought could be useful. And it's just a skill people don't take. And I thought I want to have coached it once. I've always said I think it's good, so I did, and it was really useful. Perhaps not as useful as the 2 heads I gave the other runner, but it was really useful. Monstrous Mouth, it sounds like it's being reworked. Did it need to be? And what might chomped be? Anyone got anything on that? Any thoughts? Any guesses? JLeav, you've had some weird ones. I'm going to start there, then go to Caolan.
This is purely hipfire, but I think it has something to do as a fouling skill.
Okay. So instead of fouling, you might chomp them, you think?
I think it's in addition to fouling, but
Right.
I have no clue what that could mean.
Yeah, it doesn't bring anything instantly to mind for me, so I am open to all offers. Caolan, have you got an offer?
I think it's going to be like a stab thing that just leaves a marker on somebody, and then they can't do something as a result of it. In the same way that I think the
So you think it's going to be a thing that does something and leaves the marker we've seen on them, but you've no idea what the thing is or what it stops. That's
so
really insightful.
Thanks very much. That's why I'm here. That's why
Good.
they pay me the big bucks.
Yep.
I think it could be a case of the reason I'm saying I think it could be the case of the same with the dodgy snack is that it could be an easy characteristic reduction, which is just you have a characteristic reduction until you're no longer that or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think that's
movement.
probably true. Quista, is that what you're thinking and heading?
Yeah, sure. I mean, stab like skill, that just reduces movement on the target, maybe.
Ah, right, because you've chomped onto them. So perhaps they can't move away or dodge away from you for a turn or something. That might be a thing. If it is a stab light skill, I mean, are we looking at another skill that maybe has no downside? Because that's one of the wonderful things about stab, other than that you're standing next to someone who's really cross now. You can't fail a stab and end your turn. It just doesn't work. Might chomp be the same sort of thing? Might it be automatic, not a roll even?
The downside could be that you have to choose Monstrous Mouth. Oh, but then it does. No, but that's good because your opponent has taken it. So yeah, no, that doesn't work.
You don't think we're going to get a Tzeentch or Slanesh team with Monstrous Mouth all over it? Then?
Well, that's the yeah. Sorry, you're on. I completely forgot that I was supposed to say that up. We had that interview or the previous thing, and you told me I was supposed to bring that up. Sorry, I forgot.
Yes.
You're telling me that people aren't going to take Guffle Posmal?
Ooh.
Oh yes, a star with Monstrous Mouth.
Indeed.
Completely useless.
There's going to be this. It's really exciting that there could be some new teams that would get something like that, and I suppose horrors would maybe get it, if we had some sort of horror. Although they don't like the demon aspect of it, so it'd probably just be something that you get on a Sangor for the Tzeentch.
Okay, yes. I mean, I know all my Chaos lore from all the other things that Games Workshop do that I know loads about.
Yep, Sangor as opposed to a Cornigor or a Bestigor or a Pestigor, and the other one is called a Sangor, right? Yeah.
If you say so. I mean,
Slan Igor. I think that's the one with the eye in it. Slan Igor. Or is it just a Slangor?
Right at the very end, we get an interesting thing. We have had also some clarification that all of your teams at the start, it says all the teams we currently have are going to stay. So one of the rumours we heard about in the rumour drop was that we're going down to 12 teams. That doesn't seem to be true, at least in the short term. They've said that other new teams are going to come, so we may see the 2 missing Chaos races come. That would be, I'd put some money on that. Chaos do like Games Workshop do like their Chaos races, so I'd be amazed if we don't at least see 1 or 2 of them come out in the next year or 2. But what of the High Elves? Some of us do like a High Elf. I've played a lot of High Elves, mostly in League, where I first met and played K-Folk a lot, because we were the 2 High Elf players in the White Isle Premier League. There's a little tiny bit at the end that says, no, we haven't forgotten the High Elves. We've just completely ignored them and done nothing about them, and we haven't released the box because we don't think there's any money there. It doesn't say that. I've said that. It says there will be a PDF rules available at lunch for coaches. Oh, sorry, that's launch. For coaches with the classic team in their collection. This will also be updated in due course. So it does sound like they are going to get around to giving us new high elves eventually. But we're not going to, there's still going to be a team of legend, the only team of legend, seemingly on launch of this rule set. Are we disappointed, and why no love for high elves? I'm disappointed. I'm sad. None of you give a
Yeah, I mean,
shit. Fine.
I
no,
think
I
it's a
think
little bit
it'd be cool
strange.
to get some new stuff, but I mean, the cool thing is it's very likely that we're going to get a roster change as well, right? Like a full roster change. We'll get a new box with the new guys in it, and we were all really excited for that anyway. The fact
Yeah.
that we've got there's 3 teams left, 2 of them are in the new box, and that means they're likely to be. And the fact
Well,
that they
there was
mentioned
2 teams left because Bretonians didn't exist and we had Knobs instead.
well, indeed,
So
yeah.
the rumours were either Khemri and High Elves or Khemri and
Mhm.
a return of Bretonians. And if I had to
Yeah,
put money, I'd have said, well, Khemri High Elves. They're the 2 teams of
yeah,
legend.
indeed.
We'll get them back. And then they may do Bretonians in the future. But I've been wrong before, and I am wrong now. But you think
I
we're going
think
to
it's
get them
quite
fairly
possible.
soon?
I think it's quite possible that they need more playtesting because the really cool thing that you could do with them is make them the armored elves and
Yeah.
have an agility 2 thing with armor 10 and just have a completely awesome new team that does something different, but give them all really poor movement.
Yes, I mean, there's a secret league team on Fumble called Sea Elves that have very much that
Yes.
sort of build, isn't there? I really like them, but I think I'd like them too much, so I've never gone and played them because I'm not sure I'd then play anything else.
Hmm.
So if they're going to bring my Sea Elves out and call them High Elves, then I might be very excited that day. Imagine dwarves with good agility. Sorry, I was imagining dwarves with good agility, and that means I don't have much else to say, really. I just want to go to a small private room on my own. Krista, High Elves, are you excited that they may come eventually in the fullness of time?
Sure, I have a high elf team. I have them all here. Yeah, I just think it's strange that they're the only team in this classic team collection, whatever, teams of legend. Is that going to be the
Yes.
case, or are they going to do something else with that? Are they updating everything else
Mm.
in the rulebook? That's a lot of pages to add. We'll see.
Now, I did promise we'd get to it. JLeav, anything on High Elves?
High elves, I like them, but they do need some sort of change. I have a feeling they're going to take a drastic change. Just no clue where that could be yet.
Yes, very good, Surgeon, pointing out that Sangor we already have, and of course that's who does all the stats for the NAF side. There is one more thing I do want to talk about. I think that's the actual rules drop. Anything I've missed on the rules drop before we move on to the politics of Blood Bowl and the expected mass resignations of the entire board of directors and of ethics of the NAF itself?
Real quick, I guess on Dodgy Snack
Right?
is that it's a kickoff event, and instead of stunning your guy or giving them a chance of being sent off, it is effectively going to be counted what I'm calling a standing stun. So you can't activate that player on the first turn of your drive, and then
Okay.
afterwards you can, and they are still standing. They still have tackle zones.
They just
That's
can't
it.
do anything.
Right.
Yeah. So rather like Caolan when presented with the choice between a pint of Guinness or a whiskey, he's just stood there not knowing what to do.
Yep.
Okay. Shirokov, now briefly president of the NAF, either resigned in a huff or fired for being completely useless and not taking part in any meetings, or ousted because of his righteous attempts to get Bretonians brought back with rules made and maintained by the NAF. Now, when the NAF put out not a tweet, an X, how'd you put out an X? But they X'd all over X about this rule pack, and for some reason that's on my phone. I think my daughter had a go at my phone. And so I saw it and I had a look and there were 87 comments. Sorry, there were 86 comments. And every single one of them said Shirokov was right. And about 1 in 10 called for the resignation of members of the NAF committees that had ousted Shirokov. Shirokov was elected president of the NAF with a majority of the votes, And one of his key manifesto promises was to bring back Bretonnians so that those that had them could take them to tabletop events, much like the rules for Slan, which haven't been official since second edition. I was corrected when I thought it was first, but were made by the Blood Bowl Rules Committee, one particular member. Galax Starscraper takes the credit for Slan. And there was a legal fight between Galax Starscraper and Games Workshop over Slan, and Slan have never appeared in an official Games Workshop Blood Bowl edition since the second edition. And they've repeatedly said they're not coming back. They've retconned that Slan are no longer the jumping space frogs they were when they were in Blood Bowl, but are now long dead big fat toads that sit on flying magical chairs. I mean, of course they do. It's Games Workshop. That makes perfect sense to all of us. So I don't think we're ever seeing Slan back. I don't think Slan should be existing anymore because I don't think the NAF should be making rules, and they unarguably did when they decided what the passing stat would be for Slan. At that point, they didn't just adopt the rules as made by Galax Starscraper. They added some of their own. Someone at NAF decided what those passing stats would be. At that point, they created some rules. And Shirokov said, we'll do the same for Bretonnians. We'll bring them back, we'll update them to the modern rule set, and people will be able to play their lovely Bretonnians. Was Shirokov right? I was the 87th poster on that X, and I was the first one that said no, Shirokov was still wrong. Because of the reasons I've explained. I just don't think the NAF should be making rules up, because then we have a split between the Games Workshop rules and the NAF rules, and I want to play one Blood Bowl across Blood Bowl. I mean, that's not going to surprise you. You're watching One World, One Blood Bowl, not One World, Several Blood Bowls. Which, I know One World, One Blood Bowl is not a good title, but that would be worse. Krista, was Shirokov right? Are you in that gang?
No, absolutely not. I completely agree with you. I don't think the NAF should be maintaining some semi-official roster rules. I mean, let tournament organizers deal with that and do crazy rules and whatever. But I don't think it's their place. I think it's better to unify the game so that we're playing the same game regardless of which platform we're on. Have local variants if you want, but maintain the standard rules.
I mean, my other fear is that if Shirokov had done that, that old Bretonnian roster is, I don't think, going to be anything like the new Bretonnian roster, and is different enough, even if only in minor ways, from Knobs, that they're just not the same. Wouldn't we now be facing a campaign to still keep the old Bretonnian roster?
I think so, yes.
So,
I think it's ridiculous.
where does it end?
The NAF shouldn't be doing this.
Okay.
I'm in a position where I've been for 20 plus years been saying that we should be playing the official rule set.
100%. And Fumble has always tried to stick as rigidly and close to it as it possibly can. I absolutely appreciate that about you. Even at times when we knew it would cost players, it was still important to say, no, the official rules are what is happening here and always will be, or as close as it can possibly got to.
Currently, the only divergence that we have is that we're banning megastars.
Yeah, but then that's happening in tournaments up and down the land, and even Games Workshop is leaning into that with the existence of megastars, which came about through an errata. They weren't in the original rule set. JLeav, how do you feel about the thorny issue of Bretonnians? Let's alienate half of Spain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still wondering what those 86 people think Shirokov was right about, because Bretonnians are back, and they do have players with Block and Dauntless, presumably, and they've got players with Wrestle, but Nobility are still closer to CRP Berts than 2025 Berts are.
I mean, we haven't seen them, but from everything we've heard, that's definitely going to be true. Are you interested in the NAF keeping Slan and perhaps some of the other rosters, Bretonnians, the original versions of Khorne? Should we be, all of these things did exist, should they all be kept alive? Should we have a diverging rule pack that is all the Games Workshop stuff and some other stuff?
Slan are vastly different enough that I'm not too opinionated on it. They could go and I wouldn't bat an eye, but I think that Bretonnian ranking should merge with Nobility rankings when this new Bretonnian team comes out, because one of these teams is similar and the other isn't.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Slan. I love coaching them. I don't mind facing them. I think they're a great addition to Blood Bowl. but they're not an official team, and I just don't quite understand why we are still, years and years after we knew that was the case, allowing them all over the place. Interesting to me. Caolan, are you going to be the outlier?
I'm afraid not. I think that there's a key word in what you said when discussing it, which was divergence. And I think that if it is if there is a situation where the NAF diverge from what it is that Games Workshop are producing, then we're going to have a split in the player base.
Yep.
We're going to have a split in a lot of other things as well. There'll be it gives rise to too many potential political issues, which I personally would rather we didn't have to face. If the NAF were to come out with recommended rules packs for events, I think that might be fine. If they were to come out with some clarifications on some stuff while we were waiting for something, if a new rule came out, I might even be fine with that until such time as a new FAQ comes out and properly addresses the question. So I think there's definitely a really great purpose for what it is that the NAF does, outside of having a place where I can watch my number go up, or in my case, down. That it is providing a really good service for the community, and I'm a big proponent of the NAF. It's unfortunate that the various different things happened. There was other issues as well, such as I don't want to speak because I don't want to speak for the gentleman in question, because I don't know all of his things, and I don't know the ins and outs because I'm not particularly involved in the politics of the NAF.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I understand, he also wanted to change some other aspects of it, including the kickoff table, including multiple rerolls, including some other stuff. That's not the place of the NAF, in my opinion. Nor is it their place to have effectively home-written rules for things. The slan should be dead. It's worse than just the passing stat, which was the thing, but the fact that the rerolls were brought down from 70 to 50 as well is one of the reasons that they're so completely prickish. And I don't want to be running an event where it's open to new people and somebody arrives in and goes, "What the fuck is that? Oh, these are my frog team. What are they? Do they count as lizards? No, they're frogs. They jump around and they have pogo. What the fuck is pogo?" You don't want to present a thing like that, because, as I said earlier on, one of the things about it is the fact that there aren't any gotchas. And a gotcha of, well, I fucking printed this off the internet is absolutely appalling, in my opinion. So that's just how I feel about it. I appreciate that some people might differ. But yeah, no, I'm not going to defend the NAF's ability to write stuff for the very reasons that we just went through.
Yeah, absolutely.
The roster is completely different now.
Yeah, I feel the same. We do have Cyanide Gautier in the chat. Very nice to have him there. He's explained that Cyanide did, of course, reskin Slan as Kislev Circus, so some of you may know it as that from Blood Bowl 2. And they're a super fun team. I've always been of the view that the longer we keep this dead team alive, the longer it's going to be until Games Workshop try and use a similar dynamic or create something that has that sort of feel to it. Though I doubt it'll ever be exactly the same, because that specific roster does come with some legal issues that they may not wish to ever face again. So I do think it's time Slam went, and I say that with a heavy heart. I love coaching them. I think they're a really fun addition to Blood Bowl. But I'm with Caolan. I don't want a new player attracted by the new rule set, sitting down at a tabletop tournament. And I've had people say this has happened to them, and suddenly have to face Slan, and they've got no idea what that is. Why these frogs on pogo sticks can do things that no other player in Blood Bowl can do. And why they're, people say, oh, but yes, it's not like Games NAF invented the rules. They changed the price of the rerolls, and that changed the whole team hugely. They put them on pogo sticks so that the changes to leap and to jump now existing didn't affect them. They decided what their passing stat would be. They made stuff up. Someone there wrote some stuff down and said that's the new slan. And I just don't think NAF's got any business doing that. And that's why Shirokov, good intentions and yes, a democratic mandate. But I don't think there should be resignations over the fact that somebody wanted the NAF to have its own rule set, its own house rules, very different from the Games Workshop ones, and then say it was fine for people to play those. We may be growing. We may be an important part of Games Workshop's plans to make money. But we're not a big enough player base to split into two and think that that's going to be good for us. It just isn't. And if that means we have to lose some things and compromise, if it means we have to follow Games Workshop in their money-grabbing ways and give them more money for the same plastic, I sort of advocate that we have to do that, because there is only one Blood Bowl, and it's not big enough to survive with two Blood Bowls. It really isn't. So personally, I think that's the way forwards. So if you were waiting for the Shirokov bit, that's it. I'm sure a nice guy. I'm sure all with good intentions. I try and believe everyone wants the best for everything. I think Shirokov was trying to help and be good and make people happy. But sometimes, as I learnt when I was director of tournaments on Fumble, you shouldn't give people what they want. Someone with good leadership and an idea of what's actually good for the game should decide what is best. Not what is popular, not what the people say they want, but what should happen. And then put that in place, even if it's unpopular, because that's what's right. Um, yes, I'm advocating benevolent dictatorship, because Fumble's had that for 22 years, and it's doing fine. So I advocate benevolent dictatorship in Blood Bowl, not in my real life, although arguably still within my house. That's all I wanted to say about the new rules. We've gone through them, we've talked about them a lot. I want to also just give, as I always do, a final word to any of my lovely guests who feel they have anything to say about all of this that we haven't covered yet. Let us start with my crush, the man whose brain I just think is the greatest in Blood Bowl. No, JLeav, stop smiling. It's not you. It's Krista.
I have one quick question.
Okay.
Multiple return, is it staying or no?
It's
What do you
staying.
think?
Come on, everyone loves it now. It's only the
No.
grognards and people that really love the idea that I can minimise all of the risk and win. Yeah, that was always dull. Let's have loads of risk and win. That's much better. Blood Bowl is a more dynamic and more fun game for multiple rerolls, despite the fact that it's even more punishing on newer players. It's not good for them, I get it. But I think it's better. Anyone disagree with me? Anyone want to be wrong, Caolan?
No, I like them. I think they're great.
JLeav?
I think it's a great skill to have. I think that you should only be using one reroll a turn.
Okay, so
think it is.
JLeav is wrong. There we are. Someone is wrong tonight. That's always nice to hear. Caolan, is there anything you would... I can't believe that you haven't said it already, but is there anything you'd love to add this evening, my friend?
I'd like to encourage anybody who's watching and anybody who's interested to please go and support Krister and Fumble, and because we mentioned it earlier, but I think it's a really good idea to bring it back up again for any of our later listeners. Please go onto the Fumble website and help support. He does an amazing job for the community, and I think a £5 or £10 from any of us would be very gratefully appreciated. So please do go and support him.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
He's not the type to beg, so we should definitely beg for him.
Indeed.
Because
Congratulations to JLeav as well on his 82% record. I think that's incredible, even if he is playing in America. He's an exceptional coach. I love watching him stream, and well done, buddy. I think it's great. It's really cool to see somebody who's only been playing Blood Bowl for like 4 or 5 years turn into an excellent world-class coach. Well done.
yeah, I mean, I do say again, I'm an incredible talent spotter. Mainly what I do is spot people who are already brilliant and people haven't realised. That makes it very easy. JLeav, do you have anything left to say this evening we have not covered?
I hadn't congratulated you. I was really nice to the other
don't.
two, and I hadn't gone to the other bit.
Nah,
So,
no one wants people to be nice to me. I'm a dick and everyone knows it. JLeav,
Well
what do you
done
want to say?
well done to PC on having Krister on, and well done to him for having had the foresight to say that everybody should be paying attention to JLeav, and well done on having me as a friend who makes you socially acceptable.
I mean, some people will talk to me if they see that you're nice to me, so that definitely has helped. Yes, thank you for that.
I mean, I heard the other lads you're saying stuff. I think you're really nice.
Some people will know what you're alluding to, but we can't use that word, I don't think. But I will see you next Tuesday. JLeav, what is left to say this evening, if anything?
I was going to echo exactly what Caolan was saying, and then he started complimenting me, and it would be a little too over the top to just say, "Oh yes, I agree with you that I am great."
It's very on the now for Americans.
But yes, please do support Fumble. It's an amazing site, whatnot. And I will also point out, Team USA did find me before you did, PurpleChest.
Lies.
You just got to play with me first.
I did. And I loved it, and I would love to do so again one day.
Well,
and
hey.
it was great that you came over all the way just to play in our little tournament in Loughborough and help Jock get his home nation's brand established. I was super proud that we did, and I was really happy that you came. I thought that was fantastic. All I want to say at the end of this is don't fear change. I'm old enough, I've been through a lot of change in Blood Bowl, and do you know what? It doesn't change the game usually. The game stays fun. The same people end up being good at it. The same people end up being bad at it. Loads of people think, oh, great, change is coming now. Finally, I'll be the king of Blood Bowl. if you're not already, I'm not sure that's true. But good luck in thinking that, and hopefully it gives you that energy to push on and try some new things, and try playing more Blood Bowl, getting other people involved in Blood Bowl. I think there's a good chance this rule set hasn't been written by the T-Boy on a Friday afternoon when everyone's gone to the pub. Someone does seem to be trying to do things that are going to make Blood Bowl better. Um, I haven't thought that for at least a decade, so that is fantastic. Really pleased we're being supported by Games Workshop. Really pleased Bretonians are back. Let's kill Slan, and let's all journey together into a new world of Blood Bowl. And hopefully the clubs are going to double in size again. That would be good for all of us. Now, we are at 2 hours and plus, so we do have to stop this. It's been super fun. Thank you to everyone that's been in chat. That's been great. Thank you to my 3 lovely guests. I couldn't have asked for 3 better and more disparate people to come on and all agree about absolutely everything. That's been awesome for the show. People do love some really solid agreement. That's what gets the clicks. So if we can all just wave and say goodbye. Let's assume that Caolan isn't waving, but
Yeah,
is
I'm waving.
doing
I'm
something
waving.
to
I'm
himself that we
waving.
don't want to think
Yeah.
about. We will see you soon. I've got all sorts of ideas for the autumn, and now that this, which I was expecting, has dropped, I can put those in place. We can get some new shows lined up, and hopefully there'll be a lot more One World, One Blood Bowl. Thank you for listening. Love you all. Bye. Okay, that's the end of the official show that will go out as the pod and the VOD.